All right. So as we are completing our meal and we are having persons streaming back in, the show must go on, as they say, right? So welcome back to the afternoon session. Hope you had a good lunch or having a good lunch. Um, we understand the circumstance, but I hope that we still have your ears. Right, guys? I hope we still have your ears. Um, so welcome back, and I hope that everyone is refreshed and energized because we have more goodies for you, more good speakers. And at this time, our next speaker is, before I get there, can somebody remind me which region is Jamaica in? All right, so persons have been listed. And we have our Region 3 director. Our Region 3 director is Eric Gorian, and Eric is employed to Georgia Tech Research Institute, and he's a principal research engineer at Georgia Tech. He is principal researcher and he is also chief engineer and chief of the Georgia Tech Research Institute Application System Labs, Architecture and System Development Division, supporting advanced research development in model-based system engineering. He is a senior member of the IEEE and was the recipient of the 2020 UHA Alumni of Achievement Award. He's also and has also received numerous additional awards from the Georgia Tech Research Institute, UAH, IEEE, and we could go on and go on and go on, but Eric will tell you all about that and more. So at this time, let's put your hands together and make welcome Eric.
All right, thank you. So let's just get started a little bit. Thank you for that introduction. So I'll go through some more, some of the information. I guess I just found out today that I have a different last name or have a new last name. Sophie left, but she'll give me another last name. So, again, I'm Eric Gregorian. I'm your Region 3 Director for this year and next year. So I'm planning to be here more and see you guys, get involved with different activities in Jamaica. So let's get started. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. So everyone talks about, all right, that's me. PMP, doesn't matter. So my background. So you can tell I've got a little accent. It's not a Jamaican accent though. And I'm not Jamaican because I've only been here once, right? The topic is you have to be here twice to be considered Jamaican. So I'm just here, this I'm visiting. I'm Armenian descent. The IAN on the last name is a big giveaway, or sometimes others have YAN. So Armenian descent, but I was born in Tehran, Iran. So I was there, just like a lot of you guys. I went to school, I was in high school, and revolution happened in Iran in the 70s. And because of the schools were closed, I came to the US. So I continued my education in the US. I got my bachelor's and master's, and then we'll go some more. So who I am, all right? So I'm an engineer, number one. I'm an electrical engineer. My bachelor's degree was in electrical engineering, master's was in electrical engineering. I've been a member of IEEE since 1981, all right? So that's a long time ago. In 1981, there was this competition called SoutheastCon that was held in Huntsville. So right after SoutheastCon, the student chapter said, well, we need to get some more members in. So we got to go through and get members involved. So they had a big recruitment activity and recruited a bunch of students. So I became one of the new members in 1981. And lo and behold, 6 months later, they said, we have to do we need to do some officer elections. And we need some officers. So the treasurer position was open. No one was volunteering, so I raised my hand, right? And I said, I'll do it, right? So the initiative that, Bala talked about and Sophie talked about earlier on, it's on you in terms of how you want to get engaged, at what level you want to get engaged. So if there's opportunities out there, take it, because they might not be there tomorrow. So after that, became the section vice president. I'm sorry, the student branch vice president, the student branch president, and then so on. So I got involved heavily in IEEE from that point on. I'll go through the organization to give you a little bit more information about IEEE as a whole. But my involvement became more at the section level. That's the next level. The students are, there's a student branch in most of the schools. And then once you finish up, you want to go and get involved more with IEEE, get involved with this section as a young professional or as a member, and then move up, and then you get, you can get senior member. If you're very good in a technical area, you'll be selected as a fellow. They'll submit your name for a fellow, you become a fellow. And then he gets too old. After you get 65 and you had 35 years of experience, they consider you, all right, it's time to retire, so they call you a life member. Right? So that's the cycle. We go through that cycle. But I've been very lucky, and the opportunity is there for you also, right? As I said, I was an international student. I came to the US. I was a student visa. I got lucky. I got my bachelor's degree. I worked hard through school. I know there's a bunch of you guys asked about scholarships. When I came to the States, I was already too late to apply for scholarships for college. So I went to school at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. It's a small community college. It's not a community college, it's a state public college or university in Huntsville. But they have a good engineering school. So I went there and I got the bachelor's degree. And just halfway through my first year, almost in the second year, the dean called me in the office, said, I'm going to give you a scholarship. I'll give you a departmental scholarship. So I ended up getting scholarship that paid for the rest of my tuition through bachelor's. And then I could not work at that time. So I was a tutor. I became a graduate teaching assistant, teaching the professors in the labs and programming and instrumentation and different applications. Then I got my master's. But meanwhile, I started working. I got my permit to work. So I started working for a company called Intergraph. And I was lucky because it was a center of technology at that time. So how many of you guys have used CAD system? All right. AutoCAD is one of them, but AutoCAD looked later. AutoCAD was when MS-DOS came out or DOS came out, and someone said, okay, we'll have AutoCAD. That's when Intergraph was actually the original developer of the CAD system. And they actually developed the standard that it's within probably all of this. If you want the interoperability between different CAD systems, you use that standard. And I'm sure we'll have some conversation on that tomorrow. But anyway, so you get involved, and you still have to be, if you want to be in the projects area, as Bala mentioned this earlier this morning, is that you have to be very kind. You have to be able to work people. You have to be able to accept criticism. You have to be understanding of teamwork and how the teams come together, because as the technology is growing and becoming more complicated, a single person cannot do everything. You cannot design a whole system by one person, right? Maybe it was possible in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and maybe early 80s, but now the system becomes so complex that you have to be a team member and be involved with the team. Find out what your area of expertise is and get involved in that area and lead it. Say, I'll do this, and prove to everyone else that they can earn your trust, and you can continue on, and that'll put you into more leadership aspects. So, as you mentioned, I'm working at Georgia Tech Research Institute now. That's my day job. I'm a volunteer. So how many volunteers we got over here, IEEE volunteers? All right, raise your hands. All right. Jamaica section has quite a few, right, over here. We've got Region 1 director over here. He's a volunteer. We've got TAB representative over here, vice president for TAB. He's over here. He's a volunteer. And then we've got staff to help us out. But it's a volunteer position, and it's a volunteer-run organization. So we set the stage and dictate the strategy in terms of what's the thing that we want to do. So I work at Georgia Tech. So That gives me more opportunities to work on newer systems, a lot of systems that's going to be not in the Defense Department hands or public hands for maybe another 15, 20 years from now. Maybe sooner, at the pace that the technology is moving. But there's a lot of research that goes on, so you have opportunities to be involved with the schools and schools that have associated research capability, so you can do applied research. So that's one way to continue and learn throughout your career. That's my contact information. If you want to get hold of me, my LinkedIn contact and my email. No. Wrong button. All right, so let's see who was awake. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so LinkedIn is a professional networking app that you can access different professionals. It's based on you see someone, you're interested in what they're doing, you either follow them in terms of their work area or activities, or you become a follower of a person, or you can ask to be connected with an individual. And then that connection helps you get more connections, because then you can figure out who is that person's connected to whom, right? So if I say I'm connected to Sophie and Bala connects to me, this is, oh, Sophie part a member or connection with Eric. So maybe I can go and request Sophie to be connected. Then now I can figure out what Sophie is doing. I can follow what Sophie is doing. So it's really almost like you can consider it as a Facebook, but it's really for technical professionals. And then I'll talk about another application that IEEE has called Collaboratech. So that's yet another aspect of how you can connect with people, especially in the IEEE community. All right. So, okay, so let's go. So I'm going to ask some people some questions. Let's see, is this live? All right, so what is considered to be a home? I'll start here. What's home?
Place where you live.
Okay, place where you live. Okay, how about you?
Somewhere that you feel safe.
Okay, very good, very good. Everyone has a different definition of home. How about you over here?
Well, I call home where I live.
Where you live?
Yes, where I acquaint with my family and invite my friends.
Okay, very good. So a colleague of ours, in Region 2 director, asked his nieces and nephews regarding what they consider home was. So they said, all right, where I live, we heard that one, right? Where my stuff is, right? Or, where my family is, or where I go every day after school, right? So, all right. So what are the home needs? So how many of you have been following technology lately? All right. So what do you think is everyone a good, respectable engineer in the 2023, 2024 would do to find out answers to questions? All right, use ChatGPT, right? So, okay. So this is what ChatGPT says, all right? So it's where love is, comfort, belonging, warmth, acceptance, support, stability, memories, personalization, sanctuary, connections, nurturing, right? So these are nouns or adjectives, depending on how you want to take it and how you use it, used by ChatGPT, all right? As a student member, a lot of these that apply to you if you're going to college and you're involved with the universities. You like acceptance. You want to make sure you have good support system to help you out, go through education. You want a good, stable environment so you can continue your educations. You build memories with friends you make. You do networking. You build up memories. You do personalization. That's where you figure out exactly what you want to do when you grow up. And make connections again, right? All right, so, and then you might not like these questions or responses, but there's tons of different ways you can ask ChatGPT in terms of where is it home or what's a home needs, right? So what I'm trying to say over here is that, ChatGPT, use it every day. That's great. It's a tool, but just be aware that what we get in terms of response is on what you ask and what information it has. So there's a big discussion going on in technology right now in terms of how AI is going to come to help people. But from my perspective, AI is just a tool, right? Right now, it's a tool just like a CAD, right? CAD came in the 80s and helped us develop circuits and buildings and cars or whatever. ChatGPT is just its infancy, and that's what it is. You have to make sure that you use it properly as a tool and accept what it provides, but that doesn't mean that it's the full truth. All right, so what is a professional home? All right, we know what a home is. So what's a professional home? You want to answer?
Certainly, a professional home is where you integrate with your professional colleagues and you network and you build your profession.
Very good, very good. Yeah. All right, over here.
I am just adding one for your previous list. The home needs Wi-Fi.
That is true. You can't live without it. But who developed the standard for Wi-Fi? IEEE. All right. Okay, over here. What's a professional home?
Yeah, it's a place where you go to interact with your colleagues to get professional development, advice around your professional path and your the options or opportunities that may be available to you.
Yep, very good. So, all right. So let's ask what does ChatGPT say? So it's I don't know. I'm a club member, right? You come up with that. I'm a student. I'm a member of the club, right? So where my professor writes papers and submits papers, and I help him to write the papers, or our options that we've talked about. So this is what ChatGPT says. Okay, a professional home needs a clear communication, right? You want to make sure that you communicate properly with everyone. You want to have a network of people that respect you. That's very important, right? You want to make sure you have a good integrity, and your integrity makes a big difference in terms of how, as Sophie said earlier on, how people perceive you. The soft skills are very important, so you end up learning soft skills as part of your membership. Accountability, collaboration, continuous learning, on and on and on. So, all right. Again, depending on what you ask ChatGPT, you'll get different answers. All right, so let's just go through and see what IEEE says. It's the professional home. So let's go.
So what I love about IEEE is that it really allows the convening of people of like minds over interesting domains to come together.
I think I've been able to successfully use IEEE USA to position and leverage myself to be in the cutting edge in my industry.
I remember growing up, I used to always like to be creative, and I wasn't necessarily the best painter or the best person at drawing, but I loved art because I was creating something. And engineering really gave me that toolbox of knowledge to solve bigger and more exciting problems.
I've traveled all over getting to know friends at IEEE. We've got a great network. Sometimes when we take apart a new gizmo, we don't understand something, or we need to find an expert on acoustics or signal engineering or antenna design. And I've got a group of friends that I've met through the years at IEEE conferences, and it's really fantastic to be able to call up the right expert at the right moment.
Without IEEE, I don't think I would have the network that I have. What IEEE enables is this cross-pollination of generations of roboticists, those that are older to those that are younger.
One of the other things that I get really excited about outside of the work is sharing my knowledge and my excitement with other people. One of the ways that volunteering has really helped me to give back was to connect with people who are where I was when I started my career.
I really think paying it forward and being able to help another person achieve their dreams in engineering is something that really is fulfilling for me to do.
Students and the younger generation, they need to see themselves as the future. So as engineers, we need to show them that this is possible, that they too can be engineers.
I remember handing a kid an iPod and saying, "Hey, do you want to take this apart?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, "No, it's okay. You can take it apart." And his eyes lit up. He was so excited because every single adult his entire life has been telling him, "Don't take that apart." And I was the first one that gave him permission. And he sat there for an hour taking this iPod apart and putting it back together. That's how we're going to get the next generation of innovation that we need. That's how we're going to build a sustainable electronics industry. It starts with the kids, and we have to get them excited about tinkering.
I've been fortunate enough to volunteer with IEEE and IEEE USA, enabling me to attend conferences where the best part about it is I get to meet people inside and outside of what I do. Meet with them, network with them, understand some of their challenges, and think about ideas that are completely outside of the box. And I get to share and disseminate that information and really make a contribution to my career.
IEEE USA has given me a competitive edge because of their support system. It is so much easier doing something and being out of your comfort zone when you have someone there saying, "You got this."
We need more engineers in the world. Engineers make the world better. They're designing the systems that keep the world working.
Now, the reason why I keep on renewing my membership with IEEE today is I feel a sense of belonging within IEEE.
This isn't just an organization I'm a part of. This is a family.
I've got buddies that I've met at IEEE conferences that will be lifelong friends. We need more engineers, and IEEE is leading the way to make that happen.
I want everyone to think like an engineer and be an engineer, because engineers, we solve problems and we make the world a better place.
IEEE is all about a sense of community.
And having an organization like IEEE USA being there, cheering me on, supporting me, has really made me want to be the best engineer I could be.
IEEE USA is my competitive edge. All right, thank you. So, guess what? Let's talk about, well, let's see. Let's go next slide. So, Jamaica is part of Region 3. Region 3 is part of USA regional areas. So let's just go through. So there's, I just want to go back a little bit, give you context of where you are in terms of the overall IEEE organization. Last year, we had over 460,000 members across the globe. The USA content is about, I can't remember the number, but internationally, we've got like 460,000 new members. The world is divided into 10 regions. Regions 1 through 6 are in the USA. Region 3, as a result, is in USA. So the video you saw is IEEE USA. But you could modify this video, could be anywhere in the world, not talking about IEEE USA, but just about IEEE. The main intent of the presentation is saying that you can be whatever you want to be and have challenges and be involved. Get connected, use your resources, know where to find resources through IEEE. So we're in Region 3. So Region 3 is basically all of Southeast United States, including Jamaica. All right? There you go. And we have about 25,000 members in Region 3. All right? And it says 450, but we just got over the weekend found the information that was actually 460, so that didn't get updated. So we're actually at 460,000 members. The organizational structure of the IEEE is fairly large, as in terms of governance perspective. You've got the IEEE Board of Directors, which includes the executive staff. Sophie Moorhead is one of them. She's the executive director for that, and she's the support staff is supporting that. And then you've got region directors, which are part of the member geographic activities boards. There's 10 of us that are part of that board. Technical activities board has multiple councils. They're all part of that, or societies, technical societies. You've got the publication services, products, educational activities, Standards Association, IEEE USA, and then so that creates a whole assembly. The reason I'm bringing this up is that you could be involved in IEEE in many, many, many ways. You could be a member of the geographic area if you want to be involved with the leadership at the section level, at the regional level, or at the international level.
You can, if you're heavy in standards, or you like to be involved with standards, writing standards, you can be involved through standard organizations. If you want to be in a technical society, like communication society, power and electronics, you can be part of that. Robotics. So you can be involved with, you can get involved with IEEE at many, many different levels and be a contributor and pay it to the society, right? Because our intent is to what? Make advanced technology for humanity, right? What we're doing is, and day in, day out, including the volunteers and the staff, all we're doing is trying to make sure we're contributing our work and efforts to advance the technology for a betterment of humanity. All right, so let's just go down one level. This is Jamaica section. I just pulled the report on Jamaica in terms of the memberships. So there is about 118 members. This is as of last week. I think I pulled a report. You guys have 2 affinity groups. You've got Women in Engineering, and you have Life members. You have 3 chapters, and you have, right now, unfortunately, only 1 student branch, right? We need to get more student branches. We need to get the student branches at the UTEC. UTEC has a student branch, but we need to get all the other universities started and be active members and be involved with the section and the region, right? So what I've highlighted at the bottom is the 3 major areas. IEEE Communication Society, you guys already have a chapter, technical chapter, right? You have Computer Society, right? And then you have the other one is power. Well, you don't have power and energy yet, right? Okay. So you have education. So, but if you look at the membership, 10%, 10.2% of the membership out of Jamaica is in power and electronic systems, right? Why won't we have a technical societies? All right. You guys started, you need to go and start societies, technical societies, and be involved with it. There's plenty of support available from IEEE, not only at the section level, at the regional level, at the IEEE USA level, and as IEEE as a whole. There's plenty of training classes, webinars, videos, documentations, papers that's going to be available to you if you get involved. So you have also, there's one more. I don't see it. So, okay. So you've got Computer Society and then Young Professionals. Anyone that graduates from university, they graduate from being a student member to become a young professional. Young professionals can be anyone from 20 all the way up to whenever you feel like you're young. Young at heart, right? Sorry. If you're young at heart, you can still be a YP. There's no limit. And these are all technical societies. If you have interest in becoming involved in other areas that is not in your currently supported by the local section, get involved. Be a member of that society. And then get other people that are interested in the same areas, get involved. All you need to is have 12 people to sign a piece of paper that they want to be involved with this technical society and get that started. Same thing goes with student chapters. If I'm not mistaken, I actually need 10 students to sign that they want to be a student chapter or student branch, and you can create a student branch. So if there's any other universities over here, West Indies, where are you? All right, raise your hand, raise your hand. All right. We got more than 10 students over here. Start a student chapter. You have a student branch, okay. Yeah, as our records doesn't show. So you have to be active. You have to be having meetings, and you can talk with a section over here. Christopher over here can tell you exactly when the meetings are you can get involved with. Is there a Maritime Academy over here? All right, how many? Stand up or raise your hand. CMU, how many CMU people we have? Stand up. Nope. One over there. All right, start a branch. Starts. And Oceanic Society, OES. All right, so the moral is that if you have any interest in any of the technical areas of engineering, particularly electrical engineering, and it does not have to be all electrical engineering, oceaneering, system engineering, aerospace, there's plenty of societies out there that you can be part of. There's biomedical, yeah, yes. EBM. I'm sorry? Caribbean Maritime University. Where are you? Yep, all right. Okay, get involved. Get a student chapter branch started. Get involved technically. The ones who have graduated, gone. You know, you can be over here. We talked about Professor Brown this morning talked about brain drain or leaving the country. Once you get involved, expand and create opportunities over here for future students, future engineers. All right. So this is a life cycle of the community, right? So we start right now as a student. I know there's quite a few high school students, or maybe you call it pre-university. So you can still get involved, right? We're going to look at how we can get you involved with the sections and figure out how you can become, when you graduate from with a diploma, you go to college, be involved, become a student member, be engaged with as a student. And then when you graduate, become a YP. You can get involved at the different levels of IEEE. You can still be involved at different levels of IEEE as a student member. You go into mid-career, become senior member. I think you're a senior member, right? I think you're a senior member, right? So we've got several senior members. How many fellows do we have over here? I know he's one. Are you a fellow yet? No. Life senior. So, all right. So a fellow is another way to get involved and get recognized nationally and internationally within IEEE. To record, like we said, 65 years of age and 35 years of, to add to 100. That's correct. So, but even if you're a senior life member, you can still be engaged. You can still come back and help the students. Be a mentor. Help with an entrepreneur activity. If you've already been an entrepreneur, a lot of students coming out, they don't know anything about business. They don't know the 101 of accounting or what it takes to run a business. Get back, give the community, right? I mean, that's what we do as volunteers. The whole reason we're involved is because we want to give back to the community, pay it forward. All right, so let's talk about students. So who are IEEE students, right? Anyone that is involved or is carrying 50% load, right? That's the minimum. So you can be a student member. Now, you may not have a student branch, but you can still be a student member as being part of a university, right? There are over 163,000 IEEE student members globally. So you could be one of very many. And there's plenty of opportunities for you to do different activities. As I said, I joined IEEE as a student member. I was in my sophomore year. And then I got involved at that level. And then till now, I'm serving. So there's over 3,600 student branches globally. So you can be involved with other schools, either within the region or within the USA or globally. One of the things we're trying to do is trying to create a competition between different regions on robotics so that different regions can compete together. And then let's maybe make it an international one. Make it between the US regions and the international regions, right? The students like to collaborate. So if you're part of that network, you can effectively be involved. And not only it's going to help your career, but it's also going to get you motivated to do more and be a leader, to learn how to manage a team, design a product. So there's different aspects of it. Okay, so this is what we hear. I'm not going to read everything. This is what the student members tell us is important to them, right? They want to develop leadership skills. How do you do that? Become a member and be officer, say a student chapter or student branch officer, right? When I was a vice president, and president of my local university, we actually had sessions where we sat through and we mentored younger engineers that are coming through the school. So we had classes, or we helped them with their homeworks. We didn't do with the homework, but we'd help them if they had any issues. We'd help them with developing their resumes and CVs. So there's different ways you can get involved. Getting involved also helps you get involved with other students. Besides IEEE, there's other technical societies in each university. You've got ASME, which is mechanical engineers. Civil engineers have their own, but being involved in that community of the student club membership gets you ability to connect with the other folks too, and helps you build a relationship. All right, there's tons of resources available as a student member, right? You can find virtual speakers. You can get training by the Student Activities Committee. There's student professional awarenesses. Mentioned earlier on, I'm almost out of time. How are we doing? Kiddo. Okay, all right. So I'll just go quickly. So there's Potential Magazine, student branch leadership newsletters, student awards recognitions. You can do it at a local section level, again, at the regional level and internationally. There's extreme coding competitions. So you can be involved if you like coding. You can be involved with extreme coding. Collaboratech, I talked earlier about it. It's the IEEE's version of the LinkedIn. It's for IEEE members. I think it's going to get opened up to more, but right now it's primarily for IEEE members. These are the services being provided by them. And I'm going to go. And if you would like to get bored during the day, you can go on Collaboratech and do the puzzlers. So you can get your brain going. All right. So in the conclusion, I just want to say there's plenty of opportunities within the IEEE for you to get engaged, be involved. Soft skills are important. So if you're involved with IEEE as a student or a member, you end up developing the soft skills, and that helps you in your professional career. On that note, I guess I'll turn it over to Q&A.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eric. We don't want you to leave us yet. I'm sure that we're going to have questions. We also want to have, again, based on time, we're going to have three questions for Eric. Anybody have questions? Hands up. So I will use the roving mic. All right, so one right up here.
Share an anecdote or a story or a lesson you learned while working at the startup earlier in your career?
I learned a lot of lessons. Number one, I had a team of 12 engineers that were working for me. So I learned how to work with them, figure out the strengths and weaknesses of everyone within the team. We had a product that actually went to a Consumer Electronics Show. It got the award for the Innovative Product of the Year. What I learned from that is that it takes a lot to pull a team together to market the product so that everyone is aware of what you've made. So I learned a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about doing manufacturing because I ended up working with a whole bunch of contract manufacturers and got them qualified as a contract manufacturer. And then the biggest lesson I learned is that timing. Timing is everything about when you start a business or you're involved with entrepreneurship. Depending on when you're entering the market, how the product is advanced it is. If it's a very advanced product, you've got to train the whole market so that they'll be aware of what the product is. And then the other thing is the finances. You have to get money to make sure it works. right? And the one lesson I learned is that our timing sucked because the 911 happened and the market crashed, and the investors that we had decided that they didn't want to invest money. But the product was great. A lesson I learned is that find out something, that I like to do, learn from it, figure out exactly when is a good timing to bring it to the market, and then follow through on that. So, but learn from your lessons, right? I mean, failure, a lot of times say entrepreneurship, out of every company that fails at least 7 times because before they become an individual entrepreneur fails 7 times before it comes up with a successful company.
All right, thank you so much for that response. Go ahead, another question, Eric.
Hi, good afternoon. I got the pleasure of meeting you earlier.
Yep.
But, for everybody here, my name is...
Yeah, you're going to be the biomedical engineer.
Yes.
He's going to be joining the
My name is Ehinome Hikometalor, and I attend Campion College. My question was about student groups. I heard a few things in your presentation about whether you're an undergraduate student or a graduate student and you want to be involved in the IEEE, but we're still current high school students, and we want to know what exactly we can do to volunteer and join this amazing network. So what opportunities are available for high school students to be involved?
Right. I'm going to turn it over to Christopher. Since he's a section chair, how are you going to get them involved, STEM, from a high school perspective?
Chris.
Why you invited high school students? If we are here and you are from high school, you must be in science. Because if you see the thing towards expanding engineering science in Jamaica, we are seeing you as potential students to the universities and colleges. And once you are here, then we have already robotics room for UTech. We have for UE, we already have UE, and we are trying to open for CMU. And where you also participate, we have competition next year, March, in Atlanta. Some of the universities here, we go there to compete. UE have won, and UTech have won the competition. So we have other things for you going forward in terms of STEM for the high school, and robotics. We are trying to set up competition for the high school. But this particular invitation are those, either you are in lower 6 or you are in upper 6, because we are seeing you as potential candidate to join the colleges. Thank you.
So on top of responding to some more additional content, as I showed in our presentations, there's a lot of other opportunities. Even on undergrad, you're not even in the college yet. You could be involved with tri-engineering. You can participate in the hackathons. You can get involved with the other competition. You can do like in the Southeast, we have in Region 3. We've got open competitions that you don't have to be a student member, that you can participate in an open competition for robotics. So there's plenty of opportunities within the IEEE that you can get involved.
All right, thank you for the response. We have a York Castle.
Yes, good morning. My name is John Davis. I'm from the York Castle High School. Speaking of student involvement, do you guys have any active rules of like internships for students?
I know where I come from, we have plenty of interns, and we promote bringing interns in, whether it's a high school intern or college intern. I'm not sure if the local section, I don't think they've got any. Maybe they do, internship capabilities.
Okay, please, I will advise you stay for the industrial forum. They were programmed for internship. For the industrial forum, we are going to go more details on internship and sideways, students' industrial work experience skill. That will come later on the industrial forum. Thank you.
Question over here.
Yeah, we have a mic right here.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, the previous student asked excellent question. If they are in high school, can they do joint projects or activities? That was the question. The answer is yes. Yes, we have done it. been in Jamaica. I have done a couple of projects in Sri Lanka section for high school students. So if you have any question, I gave you my email address while ago. Please, not only you, any high school student want to do a project. We have projects, and that projects bring money. I am representing Region 3 in education activities board or EAB. Lot of projects. We beg any students to come and do projects with us. Please, give me a shout.
You've also had a student over here that won internationally, right?
Yes.
It was a high school student, right?
Yes.
She was able to compete and win internationally. So there are definitely opportunities for you to get involved, even before come to the universities.
All right, I want to thank Eric. We can only take that based on time constraints. So thank you, Eric.
If you have any more questions, just contact later on.
All right. All right. He will come and speak to you off here and can give you that. We have to, yeah. All right, we Prof. Damit, she could come to you and get the info. All right, thank you. All right, we gotta move on with the program, and we're now gonna invite our next group of speakers to the stage for a panel session on engineering opportunities in Jamaica today. So please join me in welcoming there, Mr. Shamari Bullock from Digicel. Is he here? So Bullock. From Microsoft, Solade. Is he here? We have from Flow, Mr. Davis, Mazar Davis. And Mr. Andre Palmer from Simthai. And for this session, we welcome our moderator for the panel discussion, who is the Jamaica Section Chair, Mr. Udega. So the floor is open, and Mr. Udega will be chairing the session. So over to Mr. Udega.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. We are now in the real why we are here, actually, for the question the student asked me, where will students get involved? So we are going to discuss that. Haven't seen the panel of Industrial Forum. We have here Microsoft. Maybe some of you don't know, we have Microsoft team in Jamaica. We have persons from Sentai Consulting. We also Digicel, Past Manager. We also have from Flow. So we will give them 5 minutes to come and tell us what they offer. Then after, they will take questions from me. We will give them 5 minutes, 10 minutes to tell us what their company is offering and what are the benefit engineering science opportunities in Jamaica. Because we are talking of what we can do to Jamaica. President Jeff Kennedy of here said, do not think of what your country will do for you, but think of what you will do for Jamaica. So all these companies we will see. Unfortunately, JPS would have been here, but the person got something emergency, and we will want to harness from them. So let us start from Shonari, already here on the system. Or do we take it? Okay, Shonari, come and tell us what your company offer them. We take it off from there.
when I was asked to speak here, it had me thinking back to when I was about to enter the workforce. That was 2003. I was partway through a master's program that was not going well. Came back to Jamaica in May and sent out all the applications to all the usual suspects. Telecoms, the three that were here at the time, JPS, bauxite companies, all of that. June, no job. July, no job. August, regrets letter. September, eventually in December 2003, I got a job at Digicel. And in the lead up to that, I'd started to doubt the path that I'd chosen, to doubt that there were actually opportunities available to me at that time. Some of you may be able to relate, no matter how young you are, to having doubts about the opportunities, about the path that you've chosen. If you've ever had those kind of doubts, let me see your hand. So very, very relatable. What I was able to discover having joined the Digicel team is, and been with them over the years, I've kind of broken it down into what will eventually become affirmations, but hopefully you'll see within that the journey and what it takes and what is available to you as young aspiring engineers. The first thought, we are globally competitive. Working at Digicel, we'd have to work with vendors and internationally from all over the world. We'd have to work with other operators, flow people regionally, roaming partners, whatever it is. And that would mean collaborating. And collaborating is not always a smooth process. A lot of the times there's conflict, disagreement. There are differences of opinion on standards that are written and seem to be plain as day, but people can come away with different interpretations. What I was able to discover through my experience is that we are equal to the task, that we're able to have discussions, come up with solutions. We are able to deliver and represent in those forums. An experience that stands out in my mind is we had, as usual, we're in stiff competition with Flow, and we have to get up an additional network element to have capacity to compete firmly with them. Now, the network element we needed to get up had a damaged interface. And to get this interface repaired would normally mean that you take a backup, put it on a disk that then gets shipped overseas, and they work on cloning it and sending back, sometimes with a whole person to come and install it. We worked with the vendor and figured out within ourselves how to do that process locally. We asked, we got some feedback from them, etc., and we're able to apply that and get that working. Our local minds getting things done, it was something that you'd think would require external support. Over the years, you'd have to work with contractors, consultants, etc. And a lot of the times, what they knew was just that they knew it ahead of us because of the nature of how investment flows. It flows to those big markets, they get it first, so some of them know some things before us. But that doesn't mean we can't learn, we can't know, we can't do. This brings me to the next idea, global opportunities. If we're globally competitive, then we should have global opportunities. We heard earlier about the 80% of people who leave. Right now, there are people, friends of mine, who work in Jamaica for global telecoms companies as representatives, whatever else, engineers, key account managers, support engineers. They're here serving the region, serving Jamaica, but also international companies. So yes, we've had to have consultants and so on, and sometimes we can't find the skills here. It is true. We try as hard as we might, we just can't find the skills. But that's where there's an opportunity, a gap, an area for you. Every aspect of engineering that I covered in my undergraduate degree, I was able to apply or utilize at some point in time in my career. Everything from the power engineering, understanding the signals, telecoms, the programming, I've used it all. So there is opportunity for you. when I thought of local contribution, it came to me as a question. Are we giving back? Are we contributing to society beyond doing our jobs and achieving whatever the company wants? And that's a question that I want you to carry with you for your careers. So please join with me in this affirmation as I close. Number one, we are globally competitive. Let me hear it. We are globally competitive. Two, we have global opportunities. We have global opportunities. And three, make this true in the future. We contribute locally.
Mark Davis from Flow, please.
Good afternoon. Age is can sometimes create an issue, right? Okay, so coming from Flow, just want to say that engineering science plays a very integral role in everything that we do at Flow in terms of technology. Engineering science is a vast field of untapped potential with some key areas that I want to focus on today. Right? My name is Mazahert Davis. I'm Director of Network Services for Flow, in charge of the network operations and also in charge of another portion, overall fiber build out for Jamaica. Engineering plays a crucial role in the field of telecommunication in Jamaica, which involves transmission of information across the island between Negril Point, far west, to Moran Point, and everywhere in between. Telecommunication engineering encompasses a wide range of technologies, systems, and services that enable voice, data, multimedia, and anything that you use to connect or communicate with people. Just by us skimming the surface, I wish to highlight some of the key areas where homegrown talent has played a major role in crafting the landscape for Jamaica and will continue to do so going forward with the talents that are in you that are coming up. These are some of the areas that I'll be looking on and just, as I said, skimming the surface. Network design, which is network architecture and design, fiber optic communications, telecommunication security, Internet of Things, which is basically everything that we do, everything that we touch, everything just trying to be connected as much as possible. And also making sure that this works and continue to work. So we have to maintain the network. We need to manage the network. We need to optimize the networks. Network design and architecture. This is the design and planning the architecture of the telecommunication network. This includes the layout of the network elements such as switches, routers, transmission equipment to ensure efficient, resilient, and reliable connections. This is in itself a science. To connect one point to another, be able to transmit the services so that persons can be connected in Montego Bay, in Ocho Rios, in Moco, in Macatree, right? Having that ability to do that and also maintaining resilience and always on services. So in case we have a break at one point, which is in Jamaica, a daily occurrence, having a break in one section of the network and having the services and capacity available on other portions of the network. Fiber optic communication. This is the lifeblood of communication throughout the world. In Jamaica, we have an island-wide network that provides a backbone along the north coast, south coast, and inter-island interconnectivity to formulate the backbone for communication. high capacity network that provides the connectivity. And with this is what we put all of our services on: the data, the voice, the video, all your YouTube, and also providing services to other entities. Fiber is deep into over 80 communities in Jamaica, serving thousands of customers on fixed services. So that is in your home, your Wi-Fi services. A lot of the time we are just familiar with just being at home, connected to Wi-Fi, coming to school and being connected to Wi-Fi. But then the interconnectivity in all that is what we are there to sustain and optimize for. Here is the overall infrastructure that we have, our subsea infrastructure for Jamaica. The points that you see touching the Jamaica, we call it a festoon. It is leaving the island at one point, going into the sea, coming around back to another point, and this goes all around Jamaica. This helps to provide some of the resilience that we have in the overall network for Jamaica services. And also we have the terrestrial infrastructure. We won't go very in depth in that. Terrestrial infrastructure where we are on the poles, we are going underground, and we also have points of presence where the services are interconnected or regenerated or branched to disperse our services. And you will see how Jamaica is interconnected worldwide. So this is all of the fiber infrastructures that run from Jamaica, run to Miami, run from Miami to Europe, to Africa, to Asia, all over the world. This is the fiber optic network that we are utilizing. Telecommunication security focuses on developing encrypted techniques, secure protocols, and network security measures to protect data during transmission, and also being aligned with the new Data Protection Act. As you may have heard, there has been a drive in Jamaica to protect individuals' data, and how Flow plays a role in that is that we have data for our customers, their addresses, their next of kin, possibly their full name, their telephone number. That information needs to be protected. And also, this Data Protection Act also states how that information should be used, who can use it, and where it is used, right? That the data should not be available to anybody who should not have the right to do that. Now, when we look on things like scamming, Jamaica, well, not necessarily a Jamaica term, but scamming and persons doing phishing and swiping your credit cards and so on. These are the things that telecommunication security would fall under. Then we have Internet of Things. Engineers work to create communication systems that connect all devices and sensors, from smart homes, mobile devices, health monitors, etc. This involves designing protocols for efficient data exchange and being informed real time. Now, I'm sure that IEEE has a large role to play in the Internet of Things, because there needs to be standards associated with this sort of connectivity. But you will have players out there that just create a new device, not following a standard, and you are using it in your home, and then this goes back to security. Is it secure? How would you have gotten breached? Right? Finally, we're going to look on network management. With an island-wide network infrastructure, being connected to other providers, Digicel and other providers, being connected off island, we need to manage that overall network infrastructure. Flow has gigs of off-island capacity, multiple links going off-island, right? We need to make sure that that is optimized we need to make sure that the capacity is sufficient to meet all of our customers' needs. And in the event of a failure, it is not impacting our customer services. One thing of note, that recently we had an earthquake, and that created an impact on our subsea, one of our subsea links. But this was seamless to our customers. They didn't realize that half of our capacity was impacted by this, because there was an alternate services, alternate path that was going off island. And you can see that on the overall information on the fiber network that was shared. Now, things that we would want to, the persons here would be very interested in. How Flow fosters local talent. Now, one, direct hire. We engage persons, so you will see the advertisements in the Gleaner, you would see opportunities by just even putting in your resumes into the organization where space is available. Persons will be hired if they meet the specific criteria. Specialized training. In some cases, Flow reaches out to academic institutions. Say we need fiber techs, persons who are knowledgeable about fiber implementation, fiber use. What are the considerations with fiber? Distance that a fiber can go to before it starts degrading in terms of the service. How you regenerate it, how you can do switching of fiber without it impacting a customer, or the customer seeing that a switch had occurred. Those sort of things we have engaged other parties to train individuals so that we can utilize those talents. Again, homegrown talents. Graduate internship program 3. The graduate internship or growth program was implemented in 2018 by Flow. And since that time, we have engaged or hired 30 interns who have benefited from the program, and some are still there, and they are doing very well, extremely well, very talented subset of guys, but some have parted ways with us, moving on to other opportunities, but they have benefited from that internship. We consider an internship to be not a 6 months stint because of the type of technologies that we are using. It doesn't take 1 year necessarily to learn everything that is required. You need to be involved, you need to be entrenched in it. And so that is how we brought on these individuals, bring them on, understudying in the seniors to get the knowledge. Also with that, we have been bringing on additional younger blood, let's call it that. Bringing on these talents. You are the talents that are being brought on. Young professionals. Bringing on young professionals, which is a key phrase. Because we are an aging group of persons, professionals, yes. And we would need continuity. As an organization, that is definitely, you need to have continuity in terms of the services that we provide, and also the knowledge that is entrenched in the organization. And with new technologies coming on board, we will always see the need for these additional talents being brought in. The telecommunication landscape in Jamaica and the region opened huge opportunities. It is a dynamic and rapidly evolving field and relies on a solid foundation of engineering science. Our workforce of homegrown engineers in the field contributes to the design, implementation, management, optimization of the communication system, playing a specific role and a significant role in connecting our communities. Thank you.
Andre Palmer, please, from Syntai Consulting.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. A couple of observations. So I know we're competing against that feeling you get after lunch. I think the correct term is postprandial apathy, or niggeritis for. So I'll try to be brief. The other observation I had was that this is a manel. My CEO calls it a manel, a panel that comprises of just men. Interestingly enough, when I joined Simtai 6 years ago, we were, I think, 80% males to 20% females. And we realized it wasn't necessarily reflective of what was happening across technology space. And, the argument was, well, we have a lot more men graduating from technology and engineering programs. So we made a very conscious and deliberate effort to increase, the number. And now we have, I think, 45% males, females to male. 55% males, 45% females, right? And then the other observation too, I notice is, boy, you don't generally see Flow and Digicel on the same panel. So, so sitting beside each other. So I want to applaud the organizers for creating what is, and they're a miracle, but yes. All right, let me jump into, we are indeed. Okay, let me see the hands of all those who've heard of Simtai Consulting before. Very few people. So I'll just quickly talk about who we are and what we do, and I'll share some of the more substantive bits for the Q&A as we kind of move into the question and answer section. So Simtai Consulting, we are a technology organization based in Jamaica. We've been in business for 26 years. Over the last 26 years, we've done work with over 400 unique client organizations across 25 different countries. And that's been an interesting journey for us. And, on that slide, it's a wordy slide, but you see some of what we do. But at the core, what we do is just to help organizations solve complex challenges. So interestingly enough, I started I did my undergrad in international relations and social psychology and economics. Then my postgrad was in international law and organizational psychology. Transitioned into management consulting, moved into organizations, helped them resolve business challenges. But interestingly enough, most of the challenges that we were resolving in some way or another centered around technology, or we'd come back to technology to solve these big issues. So I pivoted into technology, and that's how I ended up at Gartner, now at Simtai Consulting. There are a couple of business units. We do digital transformation. So we help organizations to transform their processes, looking at how automation, robotics, machine learning, AI can help them to radically transform the way they serve their customers and their internal clients as well. The last speaker talked a little bit about data privacy and protection. So we have been helping organizations to develop and implement an approach to data privacy and protection in keeping with the Jamaica Data Protection Regulation, JDPA, Jamaica Data Protection Act, as well as the General Data Protection Regulation coming out of EU. And again, that is largely being driven by technology. The third business unit is around information security services, or cybersecurity more broadly. We've been doing that since as far back as 2006, 2007, long before organizations were contemplating the need to develop a robust approach to managing cybersecurity challenges. We also do financial crime management through a product called Alessa. It is an anti-money laundering solution that we implement mainly in financial institutions to help identify instances of fraud and then to prevent fraudulent activities and financing of terrorist activities. And then the final business unit is risk and assurance services, again helping organizations to identify, manage, and mitigate risks across their organizations. Just a list of certifications and qualifications. I'll talk a little bit more about this during the actual panel conversation. Looking at how, as graduates, you start to think about how you supplement your degree program using micro certifications as well. In terms of the professional opportunities that we currently are seeing at Simtrai Consulting, there are opportunities for IT auditors, AI engineers, data scientists, cybersecurity analysts, system analysts, and a bunch of others. But again, as we go into the panel discussion, we'll talk a little bit more about how the clients that we're serving are asking for services and expertise in these areas, and how graduates like yourselves can actually become part of that entire ecosystem. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So back over to you.
Okay, the last person, Olajide from Microsoft.
Thank you. I appreciate the privilege and opportunity to share some information with you. My name is Olajide Oluweye, but you can just simply call me Ola. All right. That's the name in the office because each time people ask about if you tell them your name, they say, huh? So I just say, okay, let me just save you the trouble. Just say Olaf. Like you heard, I work with Microsoft. Yeah. And then, I just want to give us the industry perspective. I know I've prepared, some slides that I just put together because I was looking for the best way. Because when you look at Microsoft, a lot of things come to your mind, right? You look at software, you talk gaming, you talk cloud services, and even recently telecoms. So I was like, okay, well, I work with the Azure division, which is the cloud services division. And the presenters have presented, I just want to give us some industry perspectives. And I love talking to the young people here because, for instance, I came straight from Nigeria to this part of the world based on just the IT or the telco skills that I have. For other professions like medicine or all that, it's not like that. You understand? So the industry experience that we have is universal for engineers, especially the electronics engineers and the computer scientists. And then it's all about, what you can do. All right. It's all about what you can do. The industry it demands on the problems that you can solve, not the problems that you will create. Okay, so in as much as you have value to offer, you always be in demand. And there are different areas and different aspects that you can venture into. You can decide that, okay, you want to be into IT, telecoms, networking and all that. You can say, okay, mine is just software engineering, fine. Or you can decide that, okay, it's AI I want to go into. So the possibilities are endless. So just a few notes that I've just put down here. Really, every opportunity you have like this one, to have information about, the industry, we shouldn't joke with it. I finished my first degree then in electrical electronics engineering. I was looking for job opportunities, and I saw a course on telecommunication, just the basics of telecoms, just a few weeks course, and I just went for it. And then a few weeks after then, I just got an interview. And that everything I learned during that short course that I did were the questions they were asking me. Because people in the industry, they are not asking you about your, although the principles are relevant, okay? But now it's about what you can do. What do you understand about GSM and all that? So that's that. So what you learn, this opportunity, it's important. So the possibilities are endless. And one thing about this is that it's global, okay? And then I have, I've worked with, Ericsson. When I got here, I didn't come to Jamaica directly. I was in the Latin America, Mexico and all that. Yeah, before I came and joined Ericsson Jamaica. And I've been able to support Digicel network and also Flow Packet Core networks then. before moving to Affirmed and also Microsoft. What I'm telling you is that besides what you know about Microsoft now, Microsoft has also moved now into telco services from the cloud computing. We know Microsoft sells computing devices, cloud system services, software, products to consumers and businesses. And for the gaming that I mentioned, Xbox, you all know about that, ZeniMax Media, Activision, Blizzard, and all that, So, but the cloud segment, which is the Azure, is the largest source of profit as well as the fastest growing. I know you've heard about AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services, but I can confidently tell you that most of the Fortune 500 companies in the world, they use Microsoft cloud platforms. And then the server products and cloud services, they accounted for the largest share of the revenue, around $70 billion in financial year 2023. You can Google this. So what this tells us is that the opportunities are endless. So in order just to present something to us, so how does this apply to Jamaica? For example, in my field, I know we've heard about things like the Internet of Things, about the consulting and all that. Microsoft here, I know it's a global brand, but Microsoft use more of partners and resellers. So there's Microsoft in Jamaica, but then you don't expect to see like a lot of stuff because you have, most people, once you have Microsoft certification and all that, a lot of people are able to, handle the products by themselves, resell them. And also, so we use mostly partners. So the opportunities exist with the partners. There are a lot of them. You can Google them if you need the information. Maybe I can pass it across to them, where you have opportunities for IT, you have opportunities for employment and all that. For Microsoft, I'm not saying there are no opportunities, there are programs, but I don't think we have that in Jamaica, like maybe internship programs and all that. You have that in the States and in other places. All right, so that is and that. So now we've seen the involvement of technology. So I work with the Azure unit, and as recently as 2017, digital network moved from the legacy. In telecoms, I know the bosses are here. You have two parts of the network, of the core network. You have the radio networks, you have the core network, you have the circuit core and the packet core, So the circuit core is responsible for the voice calls, while the packet core is responsible for the data. So the browsing you do on your phones, on your laptop, everything you do that has to connect to the internet, is packet core. So I manage, that's my area of expertise. And then I was looking for, how does this benefit the Jamaican market? So one thing Microsoft has done now is Microsoft in 2017 acquired Affirmed Networks, which is a virtual VPC solution provider. In other words, they provide packet core services, over the cloud. Many of us know about the cloud computing. All right. So and the advantage for this is because of the emerging technology, and that's why I have this here, the history of this. I know you can all check this on Google. And so in just 30 seconds or 1 minute, it's all about the need for speed. You want to be able to do things faster. You want to be able to connect more things. You want cars to talk to each other. You want, to communicate with your devices at home, like your refrigerator, things. And then, even with AI, which involves just gathering data, analyzing data, and making informations and making decisions based on the data as well. So it's the same thing. So now there's the need for speed. And then you can see the involvement. We started with the 1G only, where you have voice calls. I'm not sure how many of us were born in 1981. All right. Then you move to like the 2G network where you can send just SMS. How many of us still send text messages to someone like, oh, how are you doing? It's not really that common again. Okay, because that was then. Then we moved to the 3G time where you can still have some internet, but it's really slow and annoying. You're trying to open a page and you're there, you've had lunch and all that before the page opens. You understand? Then now we move to the 4G, which is where we are now in Jamaica, I believe. And then with that, you can do more things now. Things are much more better now in terms of the access and the speed. And then the 5G, which is the future technology, which is the 5th generation. And now, so if you look at this now, for instance, if you want to download maybe like 7.5 gig data, or you want to download a movie, I think an average movie of 1 hour 30 minutes is like probably 700 MB. Or maybe you want to download some series, maybe like 10 episodes. Look at the time it takes here. And then now with 5G, it takes probably like just 1 second. Okay, because you can have up to speeds like 10 gigabit per second. All right. So, but where I'm going is the need for this, for the development in Jamaica is so that you have, I'll just go to the last point here because of our time. You have smart homes, buildings, and all that, and cities. I'm sure you've heard about smart cities before. So it's easy to connect things and to connect people. Now for 5G, what's the difference? You have the different radio technology, which is the access technology. I promised myself not to go too technical. And also you have the devices to be able to handle. Most networks will just advertise 5G. You see 5G on your phone. And it's not a 5G network. That's just a fake thing. It's not 5G. So there are devices that are capable of doing that. All right. So you have the autonomous vehicle object tracking. Yeah, you have the critical infrastructure protection and control, like the smart grids. You have the remote control and process automation and all that used in aviation and robotics and all that. Then you can use it to demand indoor, outdoor conditions, viruses. That means in health sector is also relevant. Then the extreme mobile broadband, very fast. Then the new form factors like wearables and sensors and all that. All right. So how does this impact the environment in Jamaica? So 5G is expected to use far less energy than 4G. So it allows you to transport more data while consuming less power. So I think that's very important. Then appliances will be able to turn on and off automatically when not in use. So, with Internet of Things that I was mentioned earlier on, you can just simply turn off your stove. Maybe you're making something and you're on the road. You can cook while you're away, probably. All right. And then there are many other things as well. And I think because of our time. So, in other words, I just want to encourage us in summary that the possibilities in the industry, they are endless. You're in a unique position because your skill sets is marketable globally. Okay? No matter how you speak or how you look, once you can solve a problem in any country in the world, your skills will be appreciated and you'll be relevant. Okay? I've had people that have been, gone to a lot of countries and they are top directors and all that. And it's just based on this. Thank you.
Now we go into the question. We are lucky we have two major competitors here. We have Flow and we have Digital. And lucky enough, the Flow person is the operational manager. Now in Jamaica, we are still operating on IPv version 4. Some of us may not know, but IPv version 4 has 32 bits. And IPv, the world is now moving to IPv version 6, which has 128 bits. Where Going into digital, like Microsoft expert have mentioned, 1G, which is analog, 2G, which is digital, Wi-Fi, then 3G, digital, WiMAX, 4G, LTE, and we are talking of 5G, even currently working with future networks, because I'm specialist in networking and telecommunication. I'm working with future network, World Forum, working on congestion in 6G. Now, what the question I want the flow expert to let us know is that if you have 3 bits, do the truth table, you are going to get L levels. How do you get L level? 2 to the power 3, 8. What does it mean? 8 address spaces. Then if you go to 4G, 2 to the power 4, 4 bits, 2 to the power 4, 16 address spaces. Now, Jamaica is operating on 32 bits. Look at the population in Jamaica. Every family has children, all of them have phones, have tablets, every family at least 5. Look at how many addresses we consume. That means we are under utilizing. That means what we have is going to one time going to be what? not going to be enough for us. But people are now in 6G. For 32 bits, 2 to the power 32. If you do it, you see the spaces you will get. Can we compare 2 to the power 128 for IPv6? Now, Flo, young man, do we have any plan? Flo, because do we have any plan for us to move to IPv6 so that we can think of 5G and 6G in the nearest future? Thank you.
Okay, so that is a very good question. And just to expound a bit on the limitations of IPv4, the IP space for IPv4 in ARIN, which is the American Registrar, and LACNIC, which is Latin American Registrar, they have completely depleted all IPv4 addressing space, meaning they are not able to assign any further addresses to anyone. So what organizations like ourselves do is to have mixes in terms of how we utilize the IP addresses for our residential customer base. We utilize dynamic IP address assignments. So after a while, then the device may turn off, then they would need to come back online, get a new IP address space. But with the business customer base, those are always, we call them static IP addresses, meaning they are constantly utilizing that address space. But we are going to be running out of time. So your point is valid. We have been allocated IPv6 IP addressing space already, and some portions of the network have started to be integrated, or we call it dual stacking. So we have IPv4 being configured on those core routers, IPv6 being configured on those routers. However, the situation is not all systems, meaning down to the customer devices, down to our some of our maybe the provisioning systems have not been integrated as yet. So those things are in the plans to be implemented, right?
Okay, Shonari from Digicel, what are you talking of Jamaica going into 5G? Do you have any plan, Digicel?
Okay, so as it states on the thing, I am past Digicel as of December 31st. And Chris was aware of this, and Digicel is aware that I am here and so on, and all of that nice stuff. In terms of 5G, the outgoing chairman of Digicel has very publicly made his comments related to the fact that it's all business case driven. There has to be a business case for it. I am not privy as to when Digicel will see that there's that business case for us here in Jamaica or not. So that is something that I can't comment any further on. In terms of improvements that 5G offer, in terms of reduced latency, greater throughput, from a very practical standpoint, and many of you can judge, when your LTE is working as it should,
I heard that. All right, but when it's working as it should, really and truly, for me personally, there is nothing that I am missing. But there are applications like remote medicine, automated, autonomous machines, and so on, where you need that kind of real-time connectivity. And that part of our need for technology, in my estimation, has not reached there as yet. So outside of the business case, I think where we are now, we can maximize and get the best utilization out of what is deployed. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Same time, I was a student in Deutschland, Germany. I speak Dutch. If you can speak, we can try ourselves. As a student in Germany, I was working in the university. We have end and study even here in the university. At the end of the month, I was paid. I look at my pay slip, and it is paid by a different company, not a university. I went to the professor I'm working with, said, why the pay slip is carrying another company's name? The professor told me it is because that industry is funding this project in the university. So do we have any opportunity funding coming to university, telling them the problems you have? I know that many of the companies here are looking at the big countries, either US, Canada, this thing. But do you have an opportunity to look at University of Technology? Not only University of West Indies, or any to say, these are the problems we are having. Can you research in this area and give us solutions?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. So the answer is yes. And it has to be a collective corporate responsibility. A huge part of I think the challenge we're having in Jamaica particularly is the fact that we are reactive. So we wait for the rest of the world to get to a point and then we play catch up. So let's take artificial intelligence, for example. As far back as 2011, Gartner predicted that machine learning, robotics, and artificial intelligence were going to be the main drivers of automation in between 2020 and 2022. We're now 2024 and we're seeing all of this conversation about AI taking away jobs, AI doing all kinds of, amazing and wonderful things. And we're only now seeing universities starting to put programs in place around artificial intelligence. If a program is, say, 4 years and we start in 2024, it means the first batch of graduates are going to come out in 2028. By that point, the world has moved on to something else. So I say that to say there is a way that organizations can actually inform curriculum development within universities. And at the same time, what we've been doing is just that. So I know that some of our experts in the cybersecurity space, for example, have contributed in the areas of curriculum development, particularly at UTech. And even though I went to UAE, I speak fondly of UTech because we hire a lot of our graduates and our entry-level employees from UTech because we realize that they come out with a higher level of appreciation for some of the technical challenges. But part of what we've been doing is informing the curriculum development based on the problems that we're seeing in the organizations that we consult for. Remember, I said earlier, we consult or we do work for over 400 organizations in 25 countries. So it gives us a really interesting perspective in terms of the challenges that some of these organizations are facing and the problems that actually need to be solved by the professionals. So the answer is yes, there is a role that we need to play in terms of informing what the curriculum needs to look like, not at the point when the rest of the world has gotten to that solution, but well ahead of time.
Microsoft expert, my question now is that you have mentioned cloud computing. And in the cloud computing, we have private cloud, we have public cloud, and we have hybrid cloud. With all our emails, many of us, we write email, you can move from one destination to another and access your email. Why is it that you can access your email on the phone, you go to another place, log into another person's laptop, and you're able to have access to your email because they're in the cloud. Now, government of Jamaica is making law for Data Protection Act. So which of these cloud can be able to ensure more data protection Is it the private cloud, public cloud, or hybrid cloud? Otherwise, how do we ensure that the data are protected? Because anything that is in cloud is not 100% safe, because somebody can hack it. Somebody can have, whoever has access to your password will be able to have access to the information.
All right. Thank you. Whether security issues, I think it's a problem across board. I know most companies prefer to have all their infrastructure in-house and, like private network. And then the thing with the cloud services is now you have to look at the advantages and the, if it outweighs the disadvantages for you. You want the speed to deploy solutions. You want to go to the market as fast as you can. Now you want to reduce your operating cost as much as you can. You don't want to be saddled with the responsibility of, managing your data, your servers, and all those things. So then the security question as well now comes in. Now for Microsoft, for instance, Microsoft Cloud, the responsibility for protecting your data, all right, rests solely on Microsoft, for instance. And then it's something that is not really taken lightly. I'm sure you've heard about a lot of issues about data privacy issues, and not even only with cloud, even with the mobile phone companies like Apple. We've had stories with even maybe electronics manufacturers like Sony and Samsung and all that. So there is serious importance placed on securing your data. And I still think it's probably the best solution. But what most people do, most big corporations, is that they have like an hybrid system where you have some solutions, some applications in the private that you manage locally, and you now have, some on the public. But I think the advantages of having the public cloud far outweighs, whichever way you look at it, because you are looking at saving costs. Let me tell you, organizations have good intentions and all that, but the main thing is to make as much profit as possible. All right? And then why do you need to, you want to start a company now, it's easy. Just look for a company that can help you to just deploy everything on the cloud. And then you don't need to start buying servers, start installing software and everything. You can, even if you need softwares, you can go to, there's something that's called Marketplace. There are softwares that you can use and everything to come up with, to just deploy everything that can be useful for you. So it's a priority by Microsoft. Okay, security is and the budget for security every year, it's actually a lot. I'm talking about probably billions of dollars. And then you just have to, if it's private, even private companies that have private cloud and public cloud, they are still, they are still open to the security risk. Is what if you look at the number of official, they attempt every day to hack, servers. I'm sure a lot of us receive a lot of emails, just phishing and all that, trying to tell you that, so it's something that must be taken seriously by the different companies, and also it's something that Microsoft really, really, really is very critical. Yeah.
Because of interest of this question, any person can address it. Any of you can address it because it's for the interest of the students. Most times when a student wants to go for application, go for job, he has to prove that he has experience. When they are fresh graduates, they need something to prove. Some students feel that 4 years in the school, you don't have an opportunity to prove any experience. If you are in IEEE robotics, if you do any other thing extra, it will improve on your experience. When I was studying, I was flown to Ieee platform. We call it Escravos or Focados, using helicopter, 16-seater. We call it Twin Otter. A student sign up for industrial sideways, student industrial work experience. or internship, and I'm flown to the oil platform with a chopper. We are landing in the sea. On the platform you build, everybody lives in the cabin, and you are fed free, you drink, you eat. Student, the money I'm paid is enough to pay my fee. So now, do we have any provision in your industry for students' industrial work experience and also for internships? Because the person from Microsoft said something that they mainly partner with overseas. That means neglecting our local industry. These young students want to get local experience. Yeah. So what are your provisions? Maybe you talk.
All right, let me just start. When I mean partners, I'm talking about local partners. All right, not global partners. Like they are based there in Jamaica, employing IT, because you have a lot of companies are using, like, for instance, the cloud services for their business, Outlook and all that. And you have local companies in Jamaica that actually deploy them. So that's what I mean. And just quickly before I yield for the experience thing, I think the mistake most of us make is we want to start with the Digicells, the Flows, the Microsoft, the Google, and the Yahoo. You understand what I mean? I think it's good to first build up your skills. All right, if you first graduate, because most of the jobs because those guys are looking for people that is going to add tremendous value. So my own advice is, if you can just get a place where you can start, build up your skills, get the required certifications, because if you work in most of these big companies like the operators and all that, I've worked closely with Digicel and even Flow in time past. The thing is, most of the things you're doing, you're not really learning. They are the skills that you've acquired before you got there as a technical person. So you might not really learn much there, unlike someone that probably starts from a purely IT company and then build up the skills and certifications. Thank you.
Okay, importantly, coming out of academic institution, having a degree says a lot already. It says that you have gone through a process of learning and being able to apply what you have learned. In what we tend to do in our interviews is look out for some of those things that Bala had indicated, the softer skills and the ability to articulate it well, right? Yes, persons can be nervous, but how do they operate it under stress? We look out for these sort of things. And that is how, even on our internship programs, we have been able to hire, after the 1 year internship period, hire those persons into positions. And have been in some of those meetings with some of those interns, and the level of details and the information they provide and the ability to articulate it after being hired, you can see that there is high potential in an individual, not just by the experiences that they have, they are not going to get the experience because they have not been hired before. So looking out for those interpersonal skills, the ability to communicate well, the ability to work under pressure.
For those of you who are going to be graduates, that thing that says 3 to 5 years experience, ignore it and apply anyway. We put it there, but we know better. And as my colleague from Flow says, there are other things that we're looking for in the interview. So in addition to the soft skills, we want to see that you've actually done the work while in university. So we'll ask you about the projects that you did, your role on the projects. So the little labs, the final year project, those things, even if you do not get an A or whatever else and so on, make sure that you fully involve yourself in those experiences, because those are the things that we'll want to hear about. You have a question coming from that.
Okay, we are going to take questions when we finish.
Cool. Right. Outside of, where was I? Right. So apply anyway. We're looking for what you've actually done. We've also been able to successfully hire from internship and graduate recruit programs. And so those give persons an opportunity to come in and get some experience. One that stands out in mind, there's a young lady who, she came to us as a summer worker, and she really great attitude and whatever else and so on. She could not pass the signals course in her engineering, whatever. To the point where we were so concerned, like we wanted to help tutor her and whatever else and so on. She came back another summer and so on, and we kept encouraging her and so on. But what really stood out for us was her attitude, her approach. And today she's working at Digicel. She did finally pass that signals course. And, right. So wherever you fall on, just make sure that you are doing the work, putting in the work. There is a place for you.
I cannot tell you the number of times I've seen an entry-level position asking for a minimum of 2 years experience, which I think we can all agree is madness. So I do agree. One of the things that we really encourage at Simtai Consulting is the internship program. So we do facilitate summer internship programs as well as year-long internship programs as well. And these are paid internships. Again, a lot of organizations use the internship route as a way of getting free labor. But we believe that if you're bringing value to the organization, then you have to be compensated for that. And in fact, when I asked my HR just ahead of this coming onto the panel, just because I didn't want to give any false information, like typically what do we pay our interns? And it ranges from 10,000 US to 14,000 US per annum as an intern. Now, some of these interns have been so impressive that they've actually been hired before they completed their degree program. So they come on as full-time employees. I mean, I can tell you some of this, our cybersecurity experts are rushing 20, 21, 22. But again, because they're at the cutting edge of what's happening in terms of the latest technology and operations on the dark web and all of the stuff that, us old people are not so familiar with, they actually bring a lot more value to the organization and accelerate some of what we're doing. So that's on the one hand. The second part of what we do is an incubation program. So we have university students who are part of this program who happen to work alongside our more seasoned consultants over a period of time based on the number of hours that they're able to commit. And at a certain point, when we need to ramp up our staff, particularly maybe for a specific project or a specific client engagement, then it's an easy way for us to pull trained and qualified staff from an incubation program. So this is something that we actually feel really strongly about. In fact, there was a project that we were working on for a client that was based in Canada. And the client was outsourcing their entire software development and application support function to Jamaica. And we needed to find 20 software engineers really quickly. And it was as a result of, hey, Sean, how you do? It was as a result of some of the work that we've done during the internship and incubation program. We were able to pull qualified and experienced resources really quickly to satisfy this particular client initiative. So the short answer to your question in a long way is yes.
Okay, we are going to the last question from me. Then the house, you can ask questions, but I'm appealing to you not to leave. Remember that tomorrow we are continuing tomorrow. Tomorrow we have more persons from HKN, from other industry, robotics. So by the time we close, please try to come back tomorrow. Now, my last question before the house takes is that in 2017, the Region 3 Director, Professor Jim Conrad, visited Jamaica with IEEE Vice President Barry Allen Randall, just like he is here today. On their visit, we had meeting with the President of UTEC, President of CMU, and President of Ieee. The meeting was held in Ieee Council Chambers. One of the outcomes of the meeting was that Jamaica, we produce these 3 universities. We try and produce 1,000 engineers, at least 1,000 engineers every year. And last year, the same thing came up. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Nigel Clark, on his open speech to JIE, Jamaica Institute of Engineers, last year, he said the engineers will need at least 1,000 engineers in this country every year for us to have solutions to the problems in the country. I know you are operation managers, you are not in human resources, but you can be able to advise us. What do you think we should do to retain these engineers, considering the rate of brain drain in Jamaica? I have a final year in my class. He's telling me, sir, do you know I want to write if you can give me my exam a week earlier, because I want to move to United States. All of them, before they graduate, they are out. Even I'm surprised some of you expertise, you have not also migrated. So what are your advice we can be able to offer to the government so that we can retain our local scientists and engineers? Thank you.
Okay. In thinking about that question, you think about the available space in an organization and whether or not those spaces have been filled already. I did indicate already that we do have the situation where we understudy the aged workforce, so that those persons are trained, so that's by the time the older persons reach to retirement, they will retire. The younger persons would have had all of the knowledge to be able to support and maintain the infrastructure. So that is one way. Additionally, entrepreneurship, I think, is a big avenue that engineers can succeed in Jamaica. I may have some ideas that I will never apply those thoughts or thinking to the organization that I work in, but it actually solves a problem that I have currently. How can entrepreneurship be entrenched in our curriculum so that persons are thinking in that way? I have an idea. How can I make money from this? How can I hire additional persons to support to build this? How can we do this so that Jamaica is an industry leader in this solution? So we are exporting our technology, we are exporting our skill sets and our knowledge to the region and to the world.
I'd like to extend that a little bit. And so when we look at the main reason why graduates are leaving the country, it is because of a salary argument, right? Somebody says always, right? So there's a huge disparity in terms of what you can be paid in more developed countries versus what the same skills and experience will get you in Jamaica. So I think part of the public sector conversation really needs to be around how we bridge that salary gap. Because right now in a global marketplace, it's very easy for somebody to be based in Jamaica and be working for a company as a developer in Singapore. And we saw that very vividly during COVID and post-COVID. We now have a lot of people that are based here and are doing work internationally. So how do we make the salary proposition a little bit more compelling? That's the first question. The second question is really around the diversification of things that people can get involved with. So it's not so much about software development, but what kind of software development are you involved in? We had people coming to us saying, well, I want to do more cutting edge things using artificial intelligence, and we want to get involved in high Python coding activities. And I said, well, it's just a website development project. Not really interested. But if I go to Amazon, if I go to Microsoft, I can get involved in some of the more exciting and sexy software development or engineering type of activities. And then the third point I want to make is, and again, this is maybe a public sector type of conversation, is for us to start thinking about engineering and technology services as essential services. In the same way that we think about medicine and teaching and some of the other essential services, can you imagine a Jamaica that is void of engineering and technology talent? What does that look like on a competitive and global scale? So I'd love to challenge, again, the same, I did see the stats that we need to produce 1,000 engineers per annum. But again, we need to obviously incentivize those people to want to stay and provide opportunities that they can get involved in as well.
I think
just to add brief. Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't have much to say on this point after these two gentlemen. I think they both hit the nail on the head. So the thing about it being salary driven and that being a major concern, that is very true. And for many people who choose to move on, it is because they have seen where they can make so much more. It is because it comes down to individual businesses like negotiating and figuring out what resources they need or what they can do without. It's complex to solve from a policy standpoint. So I can only acknowledge the complexity of it. I can't offer any more on that today.
All right, just I've been here since 2012, and I can say that Jamaicans are among the brightest minds you will find anywhere in the world. So you have very bright, intelligent, skillful, and smart people, even the colleagues that I work with. But you know, this is a global market where you have a globally relevant skill set. So it's not really a Jamaican thing only. It happens everywhere. Everyone wants to. If you see that the qualifications, the certifications, and the skill set you have is paying so amount in maybe US or UK, and I'm just collecting just like 10% of that here in Jamaica, there's that possibility that you as well want to move. So it's something that happens generally across the globe. I don't know if Jamaica, probably we can have like a structure to the wage thing, like, okay, if you have so qualifications and all this is the starting stuff, maybe something standard. Maybe that could curb it, but honestly, I don't know, because there will always be better opportunities elsewhere. And if you can move.
Okay, thank you, my panelists. I think West Props, some tops here on time. The house, you can take questions.
All right, we have the first question. Let's lead it right at the front here. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Raki from UV campus. My question is to Mr. Ola, Microsoft. I see a programs which you encourage the women, like something WISE programs, WISE, women in science and engineering. But I don't know, WISE program. Okay, so I don't see something which is happening or active at Jamaica section. It's an initiative for women.
Yeah, like I said before, maybe with time. Right now, the footprint that Microsoft has is basically with local partners to do most of the things. So with time, there are some initiatives that are coming up, which should be done probably in conjunction with the colleges, but we are not there yet. So I think with time, when you have more presence here, there are a lot of things here, but when you have more presence here, but right now we are not there yet. Yeah, I'll note it. I'll pass it across to the relevant authorities. Yeah.
Right then, two questions. First, in terms of the corporate space and ease of doing business here, how does Jamaica compare regionally and internationally in terms of retaining talent, importing equipment, tax laws, that kind of thing?
All right. So I have a little bit of insight because I've worked with the digital group, and tax laws wise and so on, and ease of things moving through our ports, Jamaica is actually pretty good when compared across the region. For big companies, doing business is not as hard as it is for smaller companies. So digital coming or wanting to do something, things tend to move pretty easily. So it's hard for me to measure or to comment on that and how it stacks up against maybe smaller businesses operating. But I can tell you that in terms of things moving through our ports and taxes and so on, we do pretty well when compared across the region.
Okay.
there's a process to receive an engineering license. Here at the JIE, you shadow an engineer, and then in the US, you take an exam, then you shadow an engineer. Would you say going through that process is worth it for engineers here or in the US?
All right. So I have been meaning to join the GIE from forever and have not. And that's because, so here, and I'm going to make that commitment publicly here. No, the thing is that depending on what kind of engineering or the science that you do, the GIE may not have been so relevant to your being able to practice your career and so on. So I'm a member of IEEE, member of the IET and so on. And those have offered me in terms of information, what I need. But so I think an area for growth is for people like me to see what's happening in the GIE. I know it's great for civil engineers, etc. But for people like me who are in the telecom space and whatever else and so on, it has not been so relevant. And I probably should play a part in making that better.
Let me add to that question. Let me add to that question. Currently, even the young man you are seeing here is a member of JIE. And I'm also in JIE, Jamaica Institution of Engineers. Every country has their own. Even in US, Canada, in Nigeria, called NSE, Nigerian Society of Engineers. Then from JIE as a member of the institution, for you to be a professional engineer, you register with the board. Now I'm in the PAB, in Jamaica call it PAB, PERB, Professional Engineer Registration Board. That one that will admit you. Then you have the name PE. PE, professional. If I write my name, they call me Mr. But it's Engineer Christopher Udaria, PE, Professional Engineer. Bala Prasana, here, the John Juan, were corresponding, and I sent him Theodore text. He said he saw PE on my name. And my I said yes. Then he said, I'm eligible for what? HKM. That's how my induction process started. And now sent a resume. And the process is sent other 3 persons. And I was inducted as HKM ETA Kapanon, Board of Governors of IEEE. I was inducted in Canada. So we are trying to bring it down here. So every country has their own. Even in they call it Korean, Council of Registered Engineers. In US, you will not practice unless you're an engineer. In Canada, you will not. Even if you're a nurse, a doctor, you cannot go there and practice. Even in Jamaica, you cannot practice nursing unless you have your license. So it is allowable. Thank you.
Just before you ask the question, just a little bit of clarification. Hope you hear me. I just want to bring a little bit of context to the question, right? The Jamaica Institution of Engineer is really an educational body. It really provides how it is that it provides information on how the engineering fraternity functions and creates a network of sharing how you can actually go across the discipline of engineering and the continuing education that you probably need in order to move to the next stage that you asked about, right? So the JIE is now responsible for the professional engineer. Good? So it's really an educational body. Now, the professional engineer, as Engineer Udega mentioned, that is attained through the PERB, that is the Professional Engineer Registration Board. So you become a professional engineer. It's an arm of parliament. In other words, it's an organization that has been set up by the government to professionalize the engineering profession in Jamaica. So that's where you go to seek professional registration. Good? And that is a body that you need to have the certification, just like any other professional engineering organization across the world. There are different things that you do to get your PE status. Some you do exams, some it's the experience, some it's the shadowing. So different bodies across the world have different ways to make you become a professional engineer. All right, so I hope that clarifies some, all right? The next question.
All right. Hello, my name is Daniel Palmer. I have a question for Mr. Palmer.
No relation, by the way.
No,
You have
no
to say
relation
that.
at all. You said that your company works with like developing AI and automated solutions, right? I don't know if you can like give us examples of the things that you see work like happening in Jamaica as it relates to automation and AI. And then secondly, you said that there's a shortage of engineers, but it still feel as if the corporate have or these companies have the stronger foot. But if there are a shortage of engineers, shouldn't the engineers have a stronger foot? And if so, how can we flex that advantage or that?
All right. So yeah, good question. So the first, the response to the first part of your question first. In terms of some of the areas where we're seeing AI, machine learning, really expanding is in our AML practice, which is the anti-money laundering area. So again, the AML practice develops and implements solutions to help identify and fight financial crime. So do you think of how a lot of these, and I know some people may be saying, well, clearly, if you look at what's going on in some of these banks, the solutions are not working very well. But if you think of how an AML solution may work at the point of screening and onboarding and transaction monitoring, you have these applications in the background monitoring your behavior as a customer to identify behavioral patterns. So if you're used to going to the ATM at 12 o'clock every day and withdrawing $1,000, fine, it starts to build this profile. If all of a sudden you go to the ATM, it sees activities on your ATM card at 5 p.m. in Ocherius, then it is outside of the usual pattern of behavior. So there's a way that AI and machine learning can build analytics within the platform continuously based on usage and behavior to identify and prevent financial crime. A lot of this takes money, right? So some institutions will do a cost-benefit analysis. Can I afford to lose a couple $2 billion per annum and just write that off against insurance? Or do I spend a couple $1 million per annum to develop the technology and the solutions that are required to stop these things in the first place? So that is a really interesting way in which we're using AI and automation and machine learning, especially in financial institutions. We're also doing that a lot in areas where there are large volumes of consumer transactions. So the Jamaica Public Service, for example, is one of was our first customer 26 years ago. And again, back then we used to do data analytics. And I can't talk about it publicly because there's a whole case study out there. And people used to change the reading of the meter. Again, just because it was all done manually. Now, again, using machine learning, using AI, using some automation tools, the Remy meter, for example, it's almost impossible to do things like that. So using data analytics, using AI, and we've made reduced instances of fraud significantly for an organization like the JPS and the National Water Commission, for example. So those are some examples. Now, in terms of the other part of your question around there's a shortage of engineers, and I don't necessarily think there is a shortage of engineers. I think there is a shortage of engineers with the skills that are required right now by some of the leading organizations across the region. There's a huge bank that's based in Barbados, operates in 15 countries across the region, and they're struggling to find cloud engineers. Right now, we have to be hiring people from Canada and the US to satisfy that particular need. So while the universities, CMU, Ieee, UTech, Northern Caribbean University, they're producing engineers, what we're finding is that the engineers with the skills that are required right now are just not in high demand. So that's what I meant when I said earlier about us contributing to curriculum development, us informing the universities around where we see the market going, the skills that are going to be required in 5-6 years' time, and helping to shape and develop curriculum to produce graduates with those skills at the point at which they're going to be needed. Yeah.
Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Amari Clark, and I'm a final year student at Ieee.
So my question is directed mainly to Mr. Davis and to some extent Mr. Palmer. So I'm aware that there was a smart city project that was implemented in New Kingston. So my question is really, are there any further projects similar to that that will be implemented? And yeah, and also not only smart cities but also microgrids. And by extension, are there any plans to like implement this project not only in corporate areas but also to have rural areas included as well?
Okay, so as a telecom provider, communication is what we provide. Once we have connectivity in a city or a remote location, then that can facilitate the smart city implementation. Anywhere that there's that need, it can be done. If we are say going into say Mandeville, we have connectivity in Mandeville, and a smart city can be implemented there. But I just want to state that it's not Flow that would have made the smart city in Kingston or in New Kingston. But we would have been the facilitators for the communication.
So another interesting project that the UDC is looking at, Urban Development Corporation, is an initiative called digital twinning. So as part of urban planning, Jamaica has really had a very haphazard approach to urban planning, and we're seeing some of the effects now with the increase in residential properties across Kingston. You know, at every turn there is a new housing development going up with that is causing more traffic or sewage or garbage disposal problems. So what digital twinning does, it creates a digital replica of the urban environment in cyberspace, and it uses various models to predict how the environment is going to behave based on the introduction of a new variable, whether it is a new complex, or you plant a couple of trees, or you increase the roadways by an additional lane or something. And it is a really clever way. So when you look at the way that Singapore, for example, has developed, or Dubai, for example, they've utilized the practice of digital twinning, which is to first model the development in cyberspace before it is actually implemented. And it is actually a really interesting way of approaching urban planning. So again, these are some of the things that we're talking about in terms of utilizing technology to solve complex challenges. And I think somebody said it earlier. The most valuable skill that you can offer an organization is your ability to solve problems. And this is what the UDC is looking at, supported obviously by the government of Jamaica.
All right, so one question, very good presentation. So I guess really the core of the issue is the fact that in the engineering schools usually just teach you how to use your brain, right? It does not help you in any specific area. But from, I guess all of you, from organizational perspective, do you support bringing in interns and co-ops so that they'll get trained as they're going through their schooling, so that when they finish their schooling, they'll be hired by your organizations?
Categorically, yes. Categorically, yes. So, we have a very structured program at SIMTI around, internship and incubation. So we encourage people to apply. You can go onto our website, www.simtai.com. Look at our career pages. If nothing is available, just send your resume with an interest statement to the careers email that you're interested in internship opportunities. But generally, it is a rolling program that's available.
With one quick response. I did indicate earlier that we do an internship program started in 2018, bringing on over the time 30 interns with a minimum of 1 year rather than standard 6 months for internship, because in technology, we do see that you require a longer period of time for that person to assimilate some of the information and be able to start assisting or supporting what we are doing. So we do have that input.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Trey Cardinal from the Caribbean Maritime University. I realize that all persons on the panel are very computer network communication focused. So my question is, as it relates to CNC, how do you guys distribute the IP addresses between, say, Digicel and Flow, since there is not that many to be distributed in the first place, other than the dynamic and static IP addresses that were stated before?
So IP addressing is managed by a registrar. For the Caribbean, that is ARIN, which is the American registrar. They are the ones who assign IP addresses to various organizations. So a Flow and a Digicel would make a request into ARIN, and they would assign a block of IP address to them. IPv4s, as I said, are no longer available at ARIN. IPv6 is available. The usual request would go through stating what the purpose of the IP addresses would be, and they would assign a block. No? Does that answer your question? I know that you had a question for a long time. All right.
Can I add to the question again? My young man, when you come to computer network, we have what they call routing protocol. We have static routing and we have dynamic routing. When we are routing, what does it mean? We are sending a packet to move from one destination to another. If it's static, it must go through that particular route, no matter how long the life tenor of the packet. Then if it's dynamic, it will go through any route. So routing, apart from register, is saying we have dynamic and static routing. And this is how we can be able to define the route. Remember, if you keep a water here, I believe in an experiment, water would like to flow through the what? Easiest path. Do you understand? Water will go through the easiest path. So if you are doing static, it must go, whether it is easiest or it must follow that route. But if it's dynamic, it will go through the shortest path. And why IP? You will not have the same IP on your laptop or your phone with another person. So the only possible way to track you or to track you if anything happens is through the IP address. So if we can track your IP address, whether class A, class B, class C, IC, the IP, then we come to your house. We have police here, assist us, come to the house, because the IP address will not tell us your name, but we know the house where that thing is happening. So when we now come to the house, mainly with psychology, we're looking at mainly the youth. I'm not looking at somebody that's 80 to do any hacking. When we come to the house, they will definitely tell us, look at the person using this particular computer. They you'll be able to be arrested.
Okay, and let me just add to that. So you asked a question about Digicel, how the IP address assignment and Flow. So once you get that IP address, that address is being advertised by Flow. So Flow got that IP block. Once they have implemented, they are advertising on the internet. So once somebody is at Digicel, their IP addresses are also advertised. Somebody in Yahoo, Google, whatever, their IP addresses is advertised. So this database of IP addresses is available. So once you come onto the network, you send it to your default gateway. Your default gateway send it out to that database device that has all of that information and say, okay, that belongs to Digicel. Let me send it over by this path. That is how the communication occurs. So once the assignment is done, that is your IP address. Somebody else cannot use that IP address because they cannot register it. They cannot advertise it. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Zandre McDonald here from JPS within the transmission line department. I must say it's been a wonderful panel presentation. My question is a two-parter. The firstly, I would say we've discussed young professionals about to enter the job market and how to position themselves to get some gainful employment. My question is for persons already in the field and in the work environment. You have deadlines, you have key KPIs to be met. How do you keep yourself relevant to keep up with such a disruptive world? We spoke about AI, probably losing their jobs to AI. So how do you keep yourself relevant has to not be a lumbering log that gets left behind. So that's my first point.
All right, I'll start with this one. So you have to make time for yourself to actually keep up with what's happening in the industry, generally in the news, all of that stuff, and talk to younger people. So people just graduating school, people who are, so when new engineers come in from UTech and whatever, I ask them what programming language you guys learning now, like little things like that, just to see what is actually happening on the ground. So you have to make time for yourself and self-study, read journals, articles, whatever it is. If it's just Yahoo, whatever it is, just kind of have an idea of what is going on and speak to people who are experiencing the education system now to get ideas and to get a feel for what's happening.
To add to that too, Andre, I'd suggest micro-certifications. So look at what's relevant now, look at what's on the horizon, and just find short courses online. Some of these courses are freely available on LinkedIn Learning or LinkedIn Academy, on Udemy. Microsoft has a whole learning platform. There are all of these e-learning resources available online, and some of these certifications you can do in as little as 2 days. I did Scrum Master certified over a weekend, right? And right now, Agile project management is such an in-demand skill. I did the certification over a weekend. Something like ethical hacking, for example, through EC Council. Again, you can do that in a week. So there are all of these micro certifications that you can do to elevate your skill set and your experience and to keep you relevant. And a lot of these don't necessarily have to be expensive or even paid. A lot of them are actually free.
Just to add to that, most companies have like a personal development plans internally, where I think quarterly from time to time we discuss with whoever is your line manager, whoever you're reporting with, and you have an agreement, oh, this is what I want to do. It's personal for a reason. So you determine what you want to do. And then it's important to have a goal. This is what I want, because there are many things out there. And then he has given some examples. So there are a lot of free courses that you can take, a lot of free trainings that don't even cost anything. Because you have to keep updating, because the way we do things like 5 years ago is not the same thing. It's unlike the academic environment where I don't think the curriculum changes. But now things change. Technology evolves, constantly. So it's very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the responses. And the final question, it's open to the panel. I would say what, in you guys' opinion, is going to be the what they call the new silver bullet. So we went through cryptocurrency. We're currently talking about AI. So when we log on to Google or Yahoo in the next let's say 5 years, what do you guys believe, in your expert opinion, is going to be the new normal?
It won't take 5 years. I can say it won't take 5 years.
Boy, that's a tough one. And if any of us knew the answer to that, we'd be very rich, right? But a part of what we're seeing as an evolution of the Internet of Things, IoT, is the metaverse, where everything is connected, and superpower computing is really just the order of the day. So we talk about, the Internet of Things, but we're seeing that in very fragmented ways. It is not, especially in a place like Jamaica, not being executed in the way that in the way that it should. So I think in a couple of years, you're going to see connectivity. And by connectivity, I mean an extension of the Internet of Things, what we're now calling metaverse, where everything is connected and everything talks to each other and everything relies on each other, and interoperability is the baseline of operations, really. So in a simple word, I'd say connectivity or interconnectivity.
You know what I like, that I don't know if it's going to be the next big thing or whatever, it's already a thing, is, so we have these smart devices, and it's along the same line. we have cell phones, laptops, whatever else, and the data, the information that you see on all of them now, and it's getting even more that way. It's the same. So I can be working on the same document, whatever it is. I can do a significant amount of work from my phone, a little bit more from my tablet, whatever else, and the exact same interfaces and data is available there when I go to my laptop. So I think that whole existence with the cloud and smart devices, that to me is something I am excited about, experiencing it now and looking forward to the future of it.
What I should have said though, if we follow Elon Musk and what he dreams of as a future, it is the bionic man, where machine interfaces or machine meshes with human beings. I don't know if that's going to be in 5 years, but well, but it is a possibility. Right? I mean, I think we're living in a world now where we're seeing everything being possible, right? But yeah.
All right. Just to add to that, I think AI is very critical to the immediate future. My own, view of the future is that, like you said, there will be more communication, and it will be faster. And anything that can take us there, because the world is becoming more and more global. So the things that can enhance the communication and also to be able to do it faster. So in the immediate future, I think AI is very critical to that. That's just my personal point of view.
From another perspective, which is a negative side, we're going to see more or less trusted sources of information. At this current moment, we are seeing information coming through and we consider it as trusted and we pass it on to somebody else. But if we fact check it, it is not so. With AI can fool us. And that is something that is predominant now. So again, we still need to have the structures in place to catch up. And I would say be at the same pace as the development of these systems so that we can, I wouldn't say contain it. You wouldn't want to contain innovation. I see some person smiling up there, maybe thinking, how can I, So that is one thing that we need to do. Also, we need to make sure that the information that we're getting is relevant and trustworthy.
Coming from that, sorry, Chris, that negative, there's an opportunity for us because we need people who are able to work with these systems, who are able to figure out, does this make sense, not make sense, how to get the best out of these systems so that we can regain or have some level of confidence. So a negative, yes, I agree fully, but there's an opportunity for us as engineers.
Okay, let me talk of point based on my experience from Future Network. We have migrated from 5G War Forum to Future Network War Forum. In presentation in Washington, Baltimore, last year, November, we are forecasting that by 2030, we're going to do 6G. And then 6G with fully automation, AI, ML, machine learning, and DL, deep learning. And by the time we go into 6G, everything will be automated. Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry, but we have to put a cut on this. I know it is really, really, really interesting in terms of the panel discussion, but we have two other presentations and we are almost at 4 o'clock. So I just want to use the opportunity to, first and foremost, thank each and every one of the panelists and the moderator. A round of applause. And I'm sure you guys will get more other opportunities to see them in the hallways as soon as we are out of here. So again, gentlemen, and just a little pity we didn't have a lady, but gentlemen, we thank you so much for your your contribution today, and we will be talking to you, especially as it relates to, from a university perspective, to incorporate some of the industrial experience into curriculum. Thank you so much. All right, thanks so much. All right, we have a very interesting next speaker, and the void of having male, we have a young, talented, very bright young lady in our mix, who we want to make presentation to you today, Julian Gentles, and she is a recipient of a scholarship. She has been on a local television in the news making waves. And without further ado, we just want Julene rather, to tell you about some of her experience and plans to come in going forward. Let's make welcome Julene.
Good afternoon. Firstly, it's such an honor to be here. Not too long ago, I was sitting in same the faculty and staff here at the University of Technology. And so it's really a great pleasure to be back and to be seeing lots of new faces, but also lots of faces. Mr. Chris taught me computer networks in my first year here. I was, not sure of what opportunities were out there for me, but, I remember those moments sitting in that class and wondering what would come next. Just wondering what would come next. And today I get to be here. I get to share a bit of my journey so far. You'll find out from my presentation that I'm a bit of a free spirit. I go where my heart leads me. And of course, as an engineer and as somebody in a technical field, sometimes we're leading our lives with that very rigid technical side of our brains. And today I want to tell a story of how we can create more balance for ourselves and essentially create and navigate a very fulfilling engineering career. One that allows us to leverage the full scope of our talents and passions as multi-potentialites in technical fields. So, I want us to talk a bit about that word. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but it's a word that plays a significant role in my journey. And being a multi-potentialite is essentially being someone that has strong intellectual and artistic capabilities and tendencies that range across a broad range of industries, a broad range of passions, and just somebody who has several creative and technical outlets. So, here's what I think everybody in this room today can agree on. We can agree on the fact that the average human being has several facets to them. Today, most or all of us probably wear the hat of engineer, but there's so much more that makes us who we are. We can also probably agree that we might be conditioned by society to only explore one aspect of our identity at a time. So, for example, if we're a computer science student, perhaps our pursuits and interests are solely related to that part of who we are. But the truth is, and that's shown on the third tile here, no human being has a singular thread of potential. We're all very multidimensional. So, that being the case, how do we tie all of those passions together to craft a career in engineering and craft a journey and path that really brings out the best in who we are as technical minds? So, I have a quick exercise. I like to be very interactive, so I'm going to get everybody here involved in a little segment of my presentation. I want us to think about and then potentially share some passions that we have that has, quote unquote, nothing to do with the fact that we're engineers. And the first person I want to call on, I do have a friend in the audience. Gabriel, where are you? Okay, Gabriel is right here. By the way, Gabriel is a superstar data
Oh my
scientist,
gosh.
studied at the University of the West Indies, and a great friend of mine. Kick us off, Gabby. Tell us about a passion that you have that's
All right.
unrelated to engineering.
So it's not long. I have many passions, too many actually, and but one of the many passions that I have is natural DIY hair and skincare. So yeah, that's it for now.
Okay. I want another volunteer, somebody random from the audience. Just tell us your name. Perfect. Tell us your name and then tell us that unrelated passion.
Milton Oliver,
Thank you, Milton.
psychology.
Psychology. That's so interesting. The study of the human mind and the mind of living beings.
Mind and behavior.
Interesting. All right. Somebody's at the very back. Thank you, Milton, by the way.
My name is Candia White. My passion.
Repeat the name for me.
Candia White.
Candia.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
My passion, other from engineering, is owning a restaurant because I love to cook.
Oh, I love it. So we have somebody into natural hair and skincare. Milton is a lover of psychology and all things related to the human mind and behavior. Kadia is perhaps a chef on the side, a chef in the making. So one last one. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Can somebody get the mic to? There's one more here. Okay, sure. Lovely.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I am Matthew Gilzine, and my passion is music, aside from engineering. I play the instruments.
Which instrument do you play?
Quite a few. I play the drums, I play the bass guitar, I'm learning the saxophone. Yeah, that's the passion.
Amazing. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julian Wright, and I'd like to think that I'm a model.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Okay. So, actually, Rosalie Pinot, do you want to share a random passion with us?
Sure. So I'm very passionate about the ocean and deep sea diving. So I'm very interested in like coral reef restoration and conservation activities.
Amazing. So I definitely love this kind of discussion because many times we gather together where students in tech or students in engineering, but how much do we really know about each other than the fact that, we're in front of our computer a lot. We're building these great robots, we're coding, we're working with engineering teams. So I want to get in on this action as well and talk a bit about what makes me. Who is Jolene? I didn't quite introduce myself, but I'm going to take this opportunity to do that now. So my grandparents, they were farmers. That was a discipline they used to literally put food on my family's tables and just take care of our generation. So I have a special interest in farms. I love fresh fruits and fresh food and produce. I also love to travel. So I've been to about 5 out of the 7 continents. I'm trying to tick off the last remaining 2, which is Australia and Antarctica. I consider myself to be a Pan-African, so I'm very passionate about just building linkages between the diaspora here in the West Indies, in the Caribbean, and the African continent. These pants that I have on were made in Nigeria, so that's a fun fact. I love having interesting discussions and just facilitating, stimulating thoughts in others and in myself. So hopefully that shines through this presentation. I love bringing people together. I'm a health and wellness enthusiast. I'm an advocate and I love activism. So you can catch me speaking up about important causes and raising my voice for special issues and problems happening in our community. Number 9 says, I love to make money. That's true. If anybody has any ideas for how we can really make the next Fortune 500 company, please see me after. I would love to talk about that and partner on that. And I love building community as well. So with me saying all of that, we must be wondering, well, why did I choose engineering? I could have just been, a farmer. I could have pursued rather any of these other great passions that I have. If I say I love money, I could have gone into finance. I could have gone into investing. I love to storytell, so I could have just been a full-time speaker. But the thing is, engineers are uniquely positioned. I don't think that there is another field and another set of specialists in this world who are positioned to problem solve, to innovate, and to create change across a diverse set of interests, industries, geographies, almost anything you can think of. There is a way that I, with my technical skills, many of which I learned right here at the University of Technology, Jamaica, I can't think of anything that I say, hey, how am I going to apply technology to this? How am I going to innovate around this? Every single industry has an application for technology. And I have some articles here. So just of things I would have done while I was a student. And of course, I never act alone. Like I said, I love to build community. So wherever I am, I love to be surrounded by like minds. In 2018, I visited China with two great friends. So I want Hossein and Taslan at the back to just give everybody a wave. So we were sponsored by this very amazing initiative called Huawei Seeds for the Future. And it being my first time stepping foot in Asia, I was personally amazed by everything I saw happening in the innovation and technology space. And I really got to dive deep into the inceptions of a company that has literally become a household name. Like everybody knows what and who Huawei is. And yep, I've just been traveling since I was sitting in these very chairs as well with fellow students and just innovating, building stuff because I just love to build cool stuff. So I want to give a special shout out to this time to the Jamaican youth robotics team that's in the house. I've heard that we've been doing some great things. Congratulations on all of the success. I heard you've been to Geneva, you've competed against all sorts of countries and really came out on top waving the Jamaican flag, so congratulations. So the question now is, we established that we're multidimensional, we have all these passions, but we also have these great in-demand hard skills, or we're trying to foster that as budding engineers or engineers. How are we going to position ourselves? I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's this little sweet spot right here. Let's say these circles represent our passions. How do we tie that all together with engineering and innovation at the center? And I just want to use my own journey as a case study because, of course, I can't answer every question that there is, but I can tell you what worked for me and how I was able to navigate my career so far. What I did was I prioritized being introspective about all those passions that I mentioned, and I was very intentional about seeking out hybrid opportunities. And what I mean by that are opportunities that allowed me to tie all of those things together, as unrelated as each of them may have seemed. So, like I said, my grandparents were farmers. I have been working in the agricultural technology space for a number of years, and that started here at UTech. Went with a team to Geneva, Switzerland, and we designed this application inspired by Jamaican farmers, presented it to a ton of delegates from across the world, researchers, and we were actually awarded for that solution that we built. And today I'm actually a United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization expert in the realm of agri-tech. So I contribute to a number of articles and consultations about how developing countries can utilize emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, like IoT, etc., on farms, and how we can empower farmers by allowing them to really maximize their yield, their potential, and explore new markets on digital marketplaces. Basically, anything that involves linking farms and how we produce food to the transformational power of technology. I am very passionate about that space and have been in that space for a while. As I said, I love fresh food. I love farming. I actually lived in Ghana for over a year, working as a senior product manager at an agri-tech startup. And I just want to, I don't know if Ola Jedi is still here. Olajide, but it was just great hearing his story as a West African who came to the Caribbean just because of the skills he had and what he carved for himself as an identity as an engineer. And I look at him and I see a parallel of that. Born, bred, went to UTech Jamaica, loved science, loved engineering, loved farms, and there I was in West Africa because of the windows that my talents opened up for me, literally building great things with a very cool company and leading a team of engineers who I was, there to give guidance to, and just build something very cool. So now we're talking about the intersections. Like I said, I'm a Pan-African, so I worked in Africa. I was very intentional about seeking out opportunities on the African continent because that's just what's important to me. And similarly, I want us all to think about those things that we said were important to us outside of our identity as an engineer and just seek out those opportunities. I love to travel. All 5 out of the 7 continents that I've been to, it's literally just been working with engineers. It's been speaking about my journey as a computer scientist or a computer science student. So me being able to act on that passion is because of what I poured into myself as somebody who was very passionate about innovation, very passionate about building cool things. As you can tell, I like to talk and I like to talk about technology. So you'll find me wherever I can, empowering young people, trying to inspire using my voice for good and bringing people together. So I have health and wellness enthusiast, my very first job out of university, and I got this job during the peak of the pandemic. And I was like, well, we're going through a health crisis. I'm very interested in what's happening and the fact that the world is changing because of this pandemic. And I'm curious about which organizations in the technology and engineering space are doing something about this and trying to implement change in this particular field. So my very first job was as a digital analyst at a medical technology company. And we were basically building platforms to assist with telemedicine and getting doctors to interface with their patients by remote means, and also working with persons like neurologists to look at diseases that affected the mind. So Milton might be very interested to hear this. Just degenerative cognitive diseases of the mind. We were working with neurologists to build tools, digital tools that would assess how far along the condition was progressing. So very nerdy stuff in the field of medicine. And I was able to find that intersection with my identity as an engineer. So I have a few more here, but I won't take too long. What I really want to show everybody is that anything that we're passionate about, we don't have to sacrifice that side of ourselves. And in fact, we're actually in the best position ever as technical persons to really just do the things we like to do. So earlier on, I asked about some random passions, and then I shared my random passions and spoke about several intersections. So now I want to open up the floor again to some of the persons who answered that first question to share with me ways that they would dream of applying technology in that space. So my chef at the back who loves to cook, can somebody get the mic to him, please? I'm sorry to put you on the spot, by the way, but I just would love for you to share with us what's a way you think that you can have an innovative idea in tech or apply your love for engineering to your love for cooking and, good food. Sure.
So can implement AI like in the kitchen, like you have line cook and you have servers and those stuff. Can use the AI mix it with the robotics because robotics is a part of my major in mechatronic engineering, along with the computer programming for like everything could be done by the machines instead of you having humans doing all the cooking or all the work in the kitchen.
Amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mechatronic engineering, very unique, interesting field. All right. So Gabby spoke to us about, I think it was skincare, hair care. I'm curious about what your dreams are if you plan to integrate your tech skills, your data science skills in any way.
Okay, so all the products that I use, I make myself. And so currently I'm working on creating a business where I can make those products for other persons and, actually empower people to make it for themselves because I feel like we're too much of a consumer and not as much of a productor. And that's why, we import so much and don't export as much. And I think we need to change our mindset as Jamaicans. But as I said before, I have so many passions and I have so many business ideas. And I just earlier again received inspiration to really go out into all those passions and try and create a universe that interconnects them through technology. So that's something that I'm gonna think about in the past.
So when you say universe, you mean like the metaverse?
Yeah, like the metaverse.
Virtual reality, augmented reality.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody else that shared first that would like to share? Milton, perfect. I was waiting for you to raise your hand.
Yes, actually, Julian, you touched on one when you talk about the AI and the degeneracy of the brain over time. So I'm thinking that, with AI, that with human behavior, it can have so many applications. The one you mentioned is medicine, but there's also human behavior with respect to crime. I know they have lie detector machines, which is a fairly old technology, but maybe that can be improved. But there's also the other side. I mean, we're talking as engineers about the choices that we make in deciding whether we want to be engineers or not. Maybe there could be something that could predict, the outcome of a youngster as to the field they will eventually choose based on how their minds are mapped over time. Of course, with ethics involved.
Yeah, thank you. I love that because also if we're able to kind of map the minds of our youths in terms of where they're likely to end up, we can see, as you said, which ones are more likely based on their background, based on their experiences to possibly be led into a life of crime. And then we can intervene very early. So that's just such a great insight. Thank you so much for that, Milton. All right. Gonna continue. So we've now spoken about our passions, who we are as engineers, finding that sweet spot in the intersection of all of those passions and technology and how we can merge them. And now I want to talk a bit about how we're going to make ourselves stand out in the current job market and the current business scene. And I say both job market and business scene because I am a strong advocate for the fact that it's not only about seeking employment. As Gabriel said, a lot of times we're consumers, but I want us to develop that spirit of being the producer, being the innovator, and being the ownership of, every line of code that we write. For example, I want us to be in control of the fruits of our mind and be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor as the creators. So that can look like startup ownership, getting into the venture scene, etc. And AI has been a buzzword today and just a huge news topic internationally, as we know. I have some headlines right here, and I'm using an example of a company that we've all heard of before for sure. So I think this was about 2 days ago, so very recent. Google just laid off thousands of employees. Just like that, they were made redundant. One day they turned up for their job, and these are engineers as well. And the next day they just heard the news, got an email, and that was it for their career at Google. Now, the second news article, the one that's on the right end, says that their divisions are actually switching to AI-powered sales. And there's a subscript under that large headline which says, Googlers are now building AI tools so other Googlers can be laid off. Can we imagine that? So you are getting employed by a large corporation as an engineer with a bright mind to build the very tools that are going to be the reason you may not have a job next year this time. So that's the reality of things that are happening in our industry right now. And we have to think about how are we going to safeguard ourselves from those realities. So, I have a hunch about what could be a bit of a safeguard. That concept of deep specialization, does that insulate you from the reality of what generalists or generalist engineers might experience in the industry? So, as I mentioned, in this era of working in tech, a lot can be automated now, and a lot is being accomplished through emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, like blockchain. And these things make roles that perhaps we were preparing to enter even ourselves not that relevant anymore. And I truly believe that deep domain expertise will set you apart. But I want to also dive into what that concept of deep domain expertise might mean, especially for young people like us who, as we mentioned, we don't have those quote unquote 3 to 5 years of work experience, those 10 years of work experience, which is what people often believe we need to develop to add tremendous value to a company and to even consider ourselves an expert. Well, I think that those passions that we spoke about and even just one hard skill, being able to own that combination can allow us to skip that line in terms of those 10 years of work experience and whatever else might be required as an industry standard to get into a certain level of success in our careers. So for example, it's not too long after I left UTech that I was able to find myself in a senior management position in the agri-tech space as a senior product manager. So honestly, what set me apart was the fact that I genuinely loved farming. I genuinely loved working with farmers. I spent a lot of time in that space. While I was a student here in Jamaica, as I said, I was building things, designing things, working with teams, traveling overseas to present and compete in competitions related to this very niche area of the technology scene. So by the time I had graduated, no, I didn't have 10 years of experience to land a senior position, but I was competing against people who were great product managers, yes, and perhaps wanted to work at this great agri-tech company, but what did they know about agriculture as a technical person? What did they know about the role of technology on farms? that would have been a steep learning curve for them. And that was a learning curve that I was able to skip ahead of just because this was something I loved to do. So when I hear about the chef and, he loves food, let's look at an international company. I don't know if anyone has perhaps heard of like HelloFresh. It allows you to like order meals online. And if you don't have time to cook, they make it very simple with the steps and they have an application that helps you along. Let's say they're looking for a software engineer tomorrow and there are tons of applications, but there's this one application of somebody who has a YouTube channel showcasing their passion of loving to cook. Or it's somebody who is a food vlogger or blogger. They have tons of domain expertise, not because they had worked for years in this industry, but because they were confident in this passion of theirs and just doing something they loved. Plus they're a computer science graduate. That automatically now stands out in the pile of the listings of applicants that might have been pursuing that role. So that's just one example that I really want to share with us. And I urge everybody to do a similar deep introspection. Somebody, the one who loves music and instruments, Spotify is looking for great engineers and you're going to, for example, have an edge being somebody who understands just music theory and perhaps a part of the music business. And there are just so many niche opportunities and extra doors that you unlock when you lead life as an engineer who is very cognizant of the other parts of what makes you who you are and think just intentionally about how you're going to merge those things. All right. So that's all good and dandy. I want to just spend the last part of this presentation skipping through some other key pillars for a fulfilling career. Granted that we've done that introspection, we've thought about our passions, we're confident in our technical skills, or we're working every day to be better. What else can we do to just set ourselves apart, both in the world of business, if we want to lead ventures of our own, or if we want to spend some time contributing to a startup, contributing to a company, and just gaining useful experience in our fields. So I want to talk a bit about number one, which is a concept of a culture fit. Because sometimes we think that we tick all these technical boxes. Oh, the job description says they want a programmer who is familiar with MongoDB and whatever else tech stack. And you say to yourself, wow, I know all of these things. This job is probably mine. But there's an aspect of thriving in a company and thriving in the professional world that you have to think about as well, which is just, do you fit into the way of work of this place? So I want to share a little story that I heard while I was in China with Huawei. There was somebody just presenting on an example of a team, and there was the manager of this team. And every year, of course, managers are allocated a part of the budget, and he was given a particular portion of the yearly budget to advance the research on the team that he was on. I don't quite remember if it was related to artificial intelligence or what it was, but he had this budget. He utilized about 50% of the budget and worked on projects and initiatives in the space. And then the story goes that he had about 50% of that budget left over at the end of the year. And what he did was he invested that 50% that was left over. And let's say it was $1 million. Because of the investment that he did with that fund, it turned into about 10 million at the end of the year. And he was excited and he was reporting to like the executives about the performance of his team. And when the executive heard that that's what he did with the money and he thought he was going to be happy, oh, you made us $10 million, he was like, you're fired. You're fired because you were not accomplishing what you were supposed to. You're supposed to be advancing research. That is the mission. You know, this is not about how well you can turn over some funds. Go join a private equity company then, or go be a banker, for example. But no, you're here in the name of technology, advancing technology, And so he just missed the mark completely. And so you have to think about things that you value before you're joining a technology space. Okay, you have to think about the things that you're valuing when you join a technology space or just a professional community. So I'm just going to skip through each of these. It's not going to take more than a minute because I'm getting the cue for time. The second one was really just continuous learning. Keep learning. And that's more than pursuing further education, whether your master's, your PhD, your undergraduate. It's more than doing online courses. I urge each of us, no matter the stage in our career that we are, to invite somebody who fascinates you out for some coffee. Sit down and have a conversation with somebody who you're like, I don't really understand what you do. I want to hear more. That's also learning. Learning is experiential. Offer to shadow a CEO for a week. You might not be able to commit to a full-time internship, but you may have a weekend free and you're like, hey, I admire this CEO in the space. I want to send them an email. Can I tag along to your engagements, your meetings just for today and like see what the day in the life is like for you? Go to a co-working space, meet new people, find a community of people that will support you. For example, IEEE. The third one, building in public. Students, please set up your LinkedIn profile. Please be active on LinkedIn, even if you're just posting what you learned in class today. Maybe the only thing you did was learn about encryption in computer security class. Make a post and say, hey, today I learned about the power of encryption. This is what it does. Get your engagement on these platforms going, because when you build in public, that's how you get seen and that's how you get linked to your next opportunity. That has been a pillar of my journey. If I don't talk about what I do, I can't expect to progress. As Caribbean people, as Jamaicans, we have this concept of humility where it's like, no, but I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to seem, too cocky. That's not what humility is. Humility is entering a room knowing that you can learn as much from the room as you have to teach and understanding that you are not more than. It doesn't mean that you're not owning your excellence. So ensure that you're being somebody who speaks, who builds in public, who lets people know of the great things you're working towards. Pay it forward. That's the last one. Please give back. I know that in all of our journeys, doors were open for us. And as we grow, we'll find ourselves in a place where we're the gatekeepers. And I want us to remember that time when we were longing for an opportunity and know that there is somebody we can impact. And like I said, it doesn't matter the age. Even if you are preoccupied as a final year student in your undergraduate program and you're saying to yourself, I'm really grinding for myself right now. I would like an internship. There's a high school student who's probably trying to pass CXC IT right now or CXC physics, and they're struggling. And you are where you are because you were able to pass through that phase of your life successfully. So open a door, open a window for somebody else and be of service. Because when you give, it truly comes back to you tenfold. And in summary, just to go over the main points of what I shared with you today, I just want to say, 1, keep diving into your passions and do not be pressured to fit into a box. Yes, we're engineers, but we're so much more than that. And when we tap into the other things that make us who we are, that's when we're able to be the most professional, the most powerful talent in the room. Also, keep exploring, keep being curious. There's always something new to learn. I remember when Miss Sophie Muirhead was presenting, she spoke about giving yourself space to just learn. Learn something new. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you are in your career. There's always something that you can expand your mind with and keep growing with. And then the last one, which I just spoke about before, is keep opening doors for others and watch how many doors will open up for you. Thank you.
I just I'm just oozing with pleasure right now. You realize, ladies and gentlemen, that Julian is not only a UTech graduate, for the Faculty of Engineering, Engineering and Computing graduate, which I represent, right? Proudly represent. So she's a product of us. And you know, with all your endeavor, my dear, I really, really am happy that you are living the dream, right? And I'm sure that you have enlightened some of us and the passion in some of us. And again, we just want to thank Julian for her presentation. So let's give her again a great round of applause. All right. We have two questions I heard for Julian. Questions? All right, we have one young man right here. So let me. You keep the mic.
So, in the interim, Professor Thorpe just asked me, where do I find the time to do all these things? To be honest, I'm still working on time management, but the best thing I can say is that the reality of life is that some things will get sacrificed, and you have to know what you prioritize on your journey and pour into that, and not worry about what other people may be paying attention to. You may not be able to pay attention to that at this particular point in your career journey, but just know what's important to you and give that the time of day, and you'll be able to create a life for yourself where eventually you'll see like so much freedom entering your space. So I'm the type of person, like I said, I love to travel, I love to do all these things. And so, for example, I prioritize remote work. Have I gotten job offers in person? Yes, where I have to go in office. Yes, but I'm saying to myself, for me to be fulfilled, for me to be happy, I like to work remotely. And so that's what I'm going to pursue. And that's just one example. Also connect the dots, do things that allow you to feed yourself into your next opportunity. In a few months, I'll be moving to China to study at Tsinghua University. I was able to connect those dots because I visited Beijing a few years before. I already had my eye on China and on the tertiary system there. And so I create a ball that keeps rolling so that I don't have to be working too hard, because I prepared for the opportunity today, let's say 5 years ago, and the fruits of that are like rolling. So thank you. Hello.
Yeah, so good afternoon again.
Tell us your name first, please.
Romario Clark.
Romario.
So my question is, how can because there are many engineers such as myself who want to take international internship opportunities. So how can emerging engineering graduates position themselves to be able to seize international internship opportunities that are typically available for quote unquote more developed countries?
Great question. So that building in public thing, that's another very important part of it. You're already not located in the geography of the opportunity you may be trying to seize. So you have to position yourself where before you even perhaps put in that application, you are being seen and they are seeing who you are. So as I said, keep building in public, keep representing yourself on these platforms, keep sharing your journey with others, and network. Definitely meet new people. Even if somebody is working at a company that you like, they may not be recruiting talent from Jamaica. But if you can introduce yourself, if you can, as I said, say, hey, can I just have a 15 minutes video call to hear more about what you do? And when you start entering these spaces and making yourself seen and making yourself available, that's when you never know what can happen in the future. So yeah, don't feel like because you're based in Jamaica, because you're going to university here, you are missing out on the creme de la creme of opportunities. I want to again highlight the robotics team here who they're traveling to Geneva just because they learned in their schools, in their clubs, how to build these cool things. And so definitely keep working on your craft, keep working on who you are, building public, and you will be seen and more doors will open up for you for sure. Sure.
Yes, Julie. Suzanne Muir.
Hi, Miss Muir.
Uh,
Miss Muir is the reason why I like research. So
right. So I taught Miss Gentle's research methods and major projects. So her and her group had a really good idea, and I said, just go ahead and look for a major project. And then they went ahead and she went and presented as the main speaker not main speaker, as one of the speakers at the Ministry of Health, and got best student speaker. And one of the things I want to tell all of you before I ask the question is, no disrespect, Miss Gentles is not the brightest student I've ever taught. She is one of the most serious and determined. So she had the opportunities for class. Any day she's missing class, she's telling me. She comes to extra sessions where, like, I'm having opportunities to learn about research. She comes, she shows up. When I said, maybe you could win the prize, and I said, do this, everything I said to do, practice with other students, talk to your family, she did everything. And so she won the prize. And she keeps winning prizes. And the talk she just gave, I want to know, when is your TED Talk? Or TEDx Talk? Start with the TEDx Talk. When are you going to do your TEDx Talk? Are you ready? Because your ability to speak has transformed from the time I taught you. And what have you been doing? What's the secret? Because you talk better than me. The wisdom is amazing.
So Miss Muir, I'm so happy you mentioned that, because there was a student in here in an earlier session, and the student got up and said, you know, I'm not the smartest, and I'm in a class with all these other engineers, and I'm not topping, and that's why I knew when I came here today, I had to speak about passion. Because as long as I love to tell stories, as long as I care about real world problems, like I am more obsessed with solving the problems than I am obsessed with learning the technologies. And it just so happens that to solve those problems, I have to find a way to utilize technology. But at the end of the day, it's a means to an end for me. And when you focus on that end, some people are preoccupied with the means. Some people are going to graduate top of the class. Some people are going to, get the highest marks, pass the exams with the flying colors. And the truth is, a couple years from now, you might not be hearing about them. As we know with these tech founders, they're founding these amazing Fortune 100 tech giants, and so many of them dropped out of school. No, I must say that wasn't my story. That wasn't, my piece to claim. And even though Miss Muir said I wasn't the smartest, I wasn't. I still worked hard. I still graduated with first class honors. Just set standards for yourself that are realistic. So I really would turn up to class sometimes, missing class because I'm doing something that I really love to do. And I'm saying, well, this thing might help me in the future, and I may have to sacrifice turning up for Mr. Udega's computer networks classes one day, for example, but I'll make up for it. So I knew, for example, I wasn't going to leave without the first class honors, and I worked towards that. And I knew I wasn't going to do too much extra. I just set that one goal and tried to accomplish it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jelaine. Thank you so much. You truly are an inspiration to us all. I think that's an understatement. All right. And you make not only UTech, but you're making Jamaica very proud. And we look forward to you and your success in the future. Thank you so much. All right, we have one last speaker. Our next speaker is Doris. I don't want to pronounce the surname because I don't want to get it right. So Doris is okay. We have Doris next. Doris is the human resource business partner at Huawei Technology in Jamaica, and she has over 11 years of experience in the HR field, and As an expert in implementing and executing talent management, she has played a key role in managing Jamaica's Huawei and internship program and the Seed for the Future program in Jamaica in the last 6 years. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome to stage, and please help me to welcome Doris as our next speaker. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon. Great. So first of all, let me just pronounce my last name. So the last name is Ing. It's like I-N-G, but missing an I at the front. So Doris Ing. Yeah. So I think everyone is awake now with the inspirational sharing by Julian. So members of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, members of the UTech, professors, students, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good afternoon. So my name is Doris Ing. As I said, I'm the Human Resource Business Partner of Huawei Technologies Jamaica. So I work in Huawei for 11.5 years now, to be exact. And so 11 years of human resource in the ICT field. It is an honor for me to speak on behalf of Huawei Jamaica this afternoon. So I'm aware that this event is focusing on innovation, talent development, mentorship, and also engaging our young minds to nourish future professionals in Jamaica. So today I will not speak only for Seed for the Future program, but I will speak about Huawei ICT talent cultivation in Jamaica. And as we all know, information and communication technology has become a crucial growth engine for many industries and economics across the world. As an ICT leader, Huawei is committed to promoting the development of the ICT industry in all the countries where it operates. And our aim is to drive economic, social, environmental sustainability in these countries, and one of which is Jamaica. So one of our goals in talent development is to make Jamaica one of the leading ICT talent hub in the Caribbean region. And to achieve this, we collaborate with the governments through the Heart NSTA Trust, Vocational Training Development Institute. And also we work closely with the two primary operators in Jamaica, that's Flow and Digicel. In addition to that, we also have strong partnerships with the two main universities in Jamaica, that's UTech and also UWI-UE. So in May last year, we were honored to be invited to participate in and sponsor the UTech School of Engineering Major Project Conference 2023. Yeah. So, and currently our ICT talent development plan in Jamaica has three main parts. So the first part is the Seed for the Future program. This is one of Huawei's global corporate social responsibility flagship program. This program launched Jamaica in 2017. The aim of the program is to nurture professionals in order to drive the development of the ICT industries in the countries where Huawei operates, as I said earlier. The programs also seek to close the gap between the ICT knowledge where the students learn in the classroom and the skills that are required by the industry. So, of course, also enhance the knowledge transfer among the participants. And to date, we have almost 100 Jamaican students from UE and UTech that have been benefit from this program. So Julian, Taslan, and Hussein, they are the participants in 2018. Yeah, and I'm so happy that I see you here today. And actually, I have a video to share with you at the end, and which showcases the 2023 Seed for the Future program that took place in Costa Rica last year, November. It's worth noting that 7 Jamaican students represent Jamaica to participate in this program. Yeah. Second, we have the internship program. So this Huawei Jamaica internship program starts in 2019. It's one of the very unique programs that we specifically aim for engineering fresh graduate students with no work experience need. So They will be trained on multiple leading ICT projects, and they will also be be put in actual ICT projects. So apart from the learning platform that we provide, they will be work together with our professional engineer and operators in Jamaica. And through the internship program, we have provide training to over 20 fresh graduate students, and we offered 100% full-time job opportunities to those who successfully complete the program. And also, we have the ICT Talent Hub Initiative, last one. So through the ICT Talent Hub Initiative, we provide scholarship to tertiary students studying in the ICT-related fields. We are also collaborating with tertiary institutions to establish the Huawei ICT Academy, which is an ultimate learning platform for ICT-related courses and also Huawei certifications. So let me just tell you more about the Huawei ICT Academy. It is a partnership between Huawei and academic institutions worldwide. So we provide equipment, training, resources, and offer Huawei certified courses and certificates to those partner institutions. And our goal is to cultivate over 3,000 ICT talents in Jamaica through this academy by the end of this year. Yeah, so this ICT Academy is a Huawei authorized learning partner where we have its own website. And the Academy actually offers 3 levels of certification. So the first level is the HCIA, Huawei Certified IC Associate. The second level is the Huawei Certified ICT Professional, HCIP. And the third level is Huawei Certified ICT Expert, HCIE. So this certification focuses on 3 main technologies directions in the next 3 years. First is datacom and network technologies. Second is data storage technologies. And the last one is AI technologies and application. So individuals with this certification will be a valuable asset in the ICT career field in the future. And in Jamaica, we have actually signed an MOU with HeartTrust, VDTI, and also the UWI. And additional, we are currently working closely with UTech to bring this program to the campus. And to close off, I'm going to bring the Search for the Future 2023 video recap. So thank you all for your attention, and it has been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thanks.
And speaking about the experience that I have here, I can say that has been wonderful. Like not only about the technical skill, also about the soft skill that I developed, the opportunity to have cultural interchange, know other people from another country, about their culture.
Well, I'm very excited to be here. Honestly, I think I've learned so much just from interacting with other students, as they're students from everywhere in the world. So it's been really fun just talking to them. And additionally, we've been able to speak and learn from people who are experts in their area that we wouldn't really normally be able to have access to.
Experience has been great, learning different technologies, how to implement it in, like, for example, in school, since I'm a teacher. Also, it has been a very changing experience to me from what I've known in Trinidad and Tobago.
This program has been improving my skills. I'm mixing my culture with other countries, and I'm having so much fun right now. And I can say that my friends too.
I'm from Jamaica. And I'm from Panama.
From Dominican Republic.
From Guatemala. I'm from Venezuela. And I'm from Suriname.
And I'm from Jamaica.
From Dominican Republic.
From Guatemala. From El Salvador.
wow, it was so incredible. It was my first time doing that. So at the beginning, I was a little afraid, but once I was up there, I couldn't say no. It was incredible, a really nice experience.
My name is Pamela. I'm from El Salvador, and this experience was awesome. And you always need to get out of your comfort zone.
Pura vida.
Well, just just blown away. I felt like I could go back to my youthful days of enjoying this. I'm sure they of future they love this. They enjoyed it. You could see it in everything that they have shown in the video. So I want to give Huawei a big thank you. And just want to. I know that we're actually at the end, but I just want to ask Miss Ng, to respond to any question that from you that you might have in regards to anything else that you are interested to find, or what Huawei does, and or how Huawei can actually help in terms of helping you to fulfill some of your desire. Any questions for Miss Ng? I did say it right. Ying, right? Good. Any questions? All right. I'll have some, but it's off here. All right. We will talk off here. All right. Again, big thank you to Huawei. This time, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a very long, long day. It has been a very fruitful day. I've enjoyed, as you have, I'm hoping, the day one. And we're not done yet. We're coming back here tomorrow again for day 2. So to close out the day, we want to invite the Jamaica section chair, Mr. Idega, just to bring greetings. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Today have gone, then tomorrow is another day. Ms. In, please, I would like to have your contact because we are indebted to Region 3. Every year we need 5 technical sections or more. So I wish Hawaii will come and give us a technical section because we are giving a report to our director here. So, so we don't want our section to get close. So we want to be updating our section, our region. Okay, going forward, I have to thank Region 1 Director. You can see him here. He's one of the planners of this event right from Panama, our Region 3. See how all of them are quietly sitting, relaxed, and they are just visitors to Jamaica. Sophia, she's already from here, but initiating, giving us support, trying to help the country. Tomorrow we are going to hear from my dear friend here, Fred. We are going to hear more from him when we come back. Maria Hunt, please, you are not left out on this greeting, because if not her, she's the mastermind and architect of this this workshop, because the plan started during the Ieee MCE conference in Panama. I was invited, and to the way it is, they said section has nothing to do with that, but I like to explore new things. I have to pay my ticket down there. And when I got there in the airport, I sent text. I couldn't see. I pay my Uber and got to the place. I sent email to Hunter. She said the shuttle for that day have closed, but I have to pay my way to the Hilton. When I got there, she was very happy. She said, "Oh, we are going to pay you everything you spend. If I'm not taking the risk to go there on my own, look at what is happening after attending the conference." So I welcome all of you. Austin, Nancy, tomorrow we are going to hear more from HKN. Please, those of you who are students, try and come back, because HKN, the highest beneficiary are the students. Because you get scholarship, you get a lot of funding. The only thing they need to know is how the school is recognized by UCJ and ABET. So if your school is accredited by UCJ, because these are policies they would like to see, then you get a lot of support from our overseas counterpart. Please, I thank all of you for coming. My big friend here, our MC, thank you. David and team, you see, two persons can be one ordinary workshop. David and team, you see, when we meetings upon meeting, calls upon call, Crystal is outside. Oh, Maria is now here. See, Maria, give them a wave. You see? When I came here yesterday, Maria said, "Why am I not in AC Hotel? I'm from Jamaica. I have my little apartment. Why do I need to go to the hotel?" I said, "Save that money. Let me, because you already tried a lot." MCE sponsored almost 90% of this event and planning more by 2025. Our Region 3 director now giving a lot of cooperation. When we are in Montego Bay, we have to visit our International Conference Center in Montego for bigger events, because we cannot keep this type of thing. If you see main IEEE conferences, sometimes 100, thousands, and I mean 120, is it up to 1,000 attendees. We need a place that can contain as many attendees as possible, and a place that can take many technical sections going on parallel, about 5 technical sessions going on parallel. That depends on the number of papers we accepted, and we are looking at our Montego Bay or Orchard as a good venue, which is also a tourist home for that. So going forward, by 2025, we're expecting a lot. This is like a pilot test for us, and I'm glad for the way we have shown up. David, I appreciate you and your friends. You also, most of these friends you see are from Panama. And my good friend, we are in Montego Bay. She came with her daughters, and we're all swimming after the retreat in Montego Bay. Please, just to let you know, Shonare from Digicel, appreciate. He said, I will make this event, and all along joining our calls online. And Warren, my good friend, Sintai. Sintai manager is for a graduate of UTech. Cleston Brown, he finished from here. And even his paper, he's a publisher and IEEE Explorer. He published paper in Florida last year. He came there to present paper with profs. And you see how we are penetrating the world. CMU will have to work hard to join robotics competition. I don't know what is happening. You have to do that. See, you can see what you have seen here. You will have won the competition. UTech have won the competition. We are looking upon you. Not necessarily winning, just participate so that you can learn from others. When you go to hardware competition, open competition. You see what other students are doing. More than dozens of universities overseas competing. And if you go to YouTube and put UTech robot, you see we have won those competitions. Up to 6 competitions, software competition, hardware competition, ethics, engineering hackathon. And all these students have boosted their profile. So tomorrow, please, we are going to hear from Donovan, is not here, robotics, and we are going to hear from our MGA vice president who is here with us. Is it? TA, Technical Activities Board, who is here. Please, let us try and turn a march tomorrow. Among other things, Bala is here with better half, since from Montego Bay, with his wife is here. Please wave, Mom. Yeah, good. You see, came here with his wife. You see, that was to show how he's satisfaction. So thank you all. We'll see more tomorrow, and we'll see what we can be able to do. You see the question he asked, what can we do for you? That was the question he's asking the Minister of Education. My good friend, when I say my good friend, President Jeff Kennedy, they say, how is he your friend? Because I'm not, because I have different accent. My good friend Jeff Kennedy said, do not think of what your country will do for you, but think of what you will do for your country. If we work hard, we are going to get a lot from IEEE. Look at the service to the humanities. Robotics, supporting our high school is a good opportunity. STEM education, Jamaica suffers most during hurricane. We are exposed to higher disaster and move communities there. Even Mary, talking of giving us a communication system, but we need support, volunteers. If we can get these volunteers, we are getting there. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow.